Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Final Four is all set. Two of those teams are from the Big Ten. Michigan smothered Tennessee yesterday, 95-62. They'll play Arizona Saturday night in Indianapolis. It's the first Final Four trip for the Wildcats since 2001. Yesterday in Washington, UConn erased a 15-point halftime deficit to knock off Duke 73-72. Huskies will play Illinois in the other national semifinal game. First Final Four for the Illini since 2005. Lucas Oil Stadium will be the site next Monday for the national title tilt. In other news, Ohio State junior forward Devin Royal will enter the transfer portal when it opens next Tuesday. Royal's going to have 1 year of eligibility remaining. And on the ice last night at Nationwide, the Blue Jackets blew a 3-goal lead in the third, falling to the Bruins 4-3 in a shootout. Jackets pick up a point in the loss, but their 3-game slide that has them second in the wild card. Only 2 points ahead of Ottawa, Detroit, and Philadelphia. This update is sponsored by Eco Plumbers. Get $500 in free plumbing repairs when you buy a new water heater. Visit geteco.com and book today.
Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy.
Good buddy, Austin Ward.
My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show.
The great Doug Lamery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Tom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then
it's a rundown.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only 2 guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
Does this work? Let's do it live on a Monday, kids. We're back and better than ever. Loaded up for you. Awesome going to join at 10:30, 11 o'clock, the weekend that was in the Blitz and the Hall of Famer Scoonie Penn at 11:30. You heard the handsome update anchor there with the news on Devin Royal. We'll get into Buckeye basketball, how they're going to build this thing this offseason. I saw probably one of the biggest gambles I've ever seen in collegiate sports when I was down in Florida. I saw firsthand. So we'll get into that coming up at 10 o'clock as well, if that gamble will actually pay off or not. But we should start here. It is good to be back. There is the last show that I did was the Thursday of the NCAA tournament. So the Buckeyes were playing in the early window. We had a truncated show, I believe, Reese. And so I think that they had to start the whole tournament at 12:15. So we did that show on that Thursday. And then I was off all last week for spring break and then back, and now we have a Final Four. So basically, the majority of the NCAA tournament has taken place in the time that I was on spring break over those 2 weekends. And I would tell you that as I watched it, as we were away and traveling and on flights and on planes and in airport bars and in actual bars and in the house that we were staying in and all of these things, and just going around the world, it was omnipresent. You really couldn't get away from it. Every television that you walked by, every television that was on, no matter what the establishment was, had it on. It was on everywhere. And it kind of occurs to you as we now have this Final Four, and we've had all of these incredible moments over the last 2 weekends, that there really isn't anything quite like the NCAA tournament that we have left in sports. I suppose the closest example of it on an annual basis would be something like the Masters. Or something like maybe the World Cup, except that's every 4 years. I'm not comparing popularity of March Madness to the World Cup. I'm just suggesting something that the sporting masses don't typically pay attention to, but for these 3 weekends, consume as if they are drinking out of a fire hose. The sports masses do. Millions and millions watch this. Is it brackets? Is it gambling? Sure, it's all those things. I got my wife worried about her bracket. I'm sure your significant others are. I got Bootsy and the boys are all locked into all of their brackets. Their little kids locked into theirs. So I think the brackets are a big part of it. But I think the other part of it is we like to see something on a screen and say, if you win this, you get to this. And if you win that, you get to this. And there's value in that. And there is a sense of urgency and immediacy in it. You get the most absurd things that happen. Think of the buzzer beaters that we have seen over the last 2 weekends. Think about how long ago this was. You remember the Ortega-Owe shot for Kentucky on that Friday? where they're cooked in the first round. Maybe Mark Pope's fired after 1 year. And then you culminate with the final game to get into the Final Four last night in the most stupefying fashion. I've never seen a team lose like that. Never seen a team lose the way Duke lost that game last night in spectacular fashion. But there really is nothing like it. There's nothing else in sports that for a month over 3 weekends captures the attention of a gross majority of people who do not watch the sport otherwise. We have ways of measuring these things, and you're not watching it. But tens of millions will watch this, men's and women's, by the way, both. Good to be back, boys.
Good to have you back. Hopefully flights, travel went well.
So obviously the other big thing that was looming over all of this was the TSA chaos that is around the world.
Girlfriend's going to Boston this morning, and she made it through in about 30 minutes. So if you're flying out of John Glenn this morning, so far so good?
Yeah. So we had no such issues. No such issues. Now, I have clear and TSA pre and all of those things, but like in some places the clear lines are canceled and the TSA pre is there. But I really had no such issues. Like we had probably the smoothest travel, considering we completely canceled one spring break 3 days before doing another one and rebooked another one. I don't know that I've ever had anything go as smoothly as it did. It was very smooth. Now we did have a couple who were on our flight on Friday we flew through Houston. I didn't have a lot of choices because I had to rebook everything with 48 hours notice. So I was kind of stuck in connections, and like we had a 3-hour layover in Houston. But there were folks on our flight from Houston home that waited 4.5 hours in the line. They were one of those folks, and they sprinted and just barely made a 6:30 flight to be able to get there. So that we did have some of that around us. But honestly, and maybe because so many people were on the outside and couldn't get in, the terminals were relatively quiet. A lot of the planes had empty seats. Like I had an empty seat next to me on the flight to Houston from the Panama City airport.
You had a whole row?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now that's living large.
That's living.
Yeah. But then I look at it and I think, God, someone should be sitting here because everything's oversold. So what happened to those poor schmucks?
I wonder if some people heard the stories and were like, yeah, we're not going to do this. We're just going to drive wherever we wanted to. While you were
Real quick, so funny that you say that. Part of the reason that we went where we went, we were in Watercolor, Seaside, Florida, 30A. We'd been there before, so we knew it was great. The roll of the dice is the weather, right? You don't know if it's going to be warm enough this time of year. It was all mid-70s, sunny most of the week. It was spectacular. We got very, very lucky. But Bake, to your point, part of the reason that we did that is because I said, if all else fails, I'll drive. I can drive there. I can't drive to Los Angeles. I can't drive to Phoenix. I can't drive to Miami, but I can drive there. And so that was, even if it's 2 days, I can drive. And on Friday morning, as I was driving to the airport in Panama City to catch our flight to Houston, I said to my wife, if I see one thing in this United app that says that a single flight is delayed, we're driving. Like right now, I'm not turning this rental car. I'm headed northbound and down. So, yes, I think people are doing that, and I damn near did it. I was very close to not turning in the car and just driving.
So while you were gone, I had a friend that was in LaGuardia and sent a picture real time, and there was nobody in line anywhere. Now, some people said after that wreck on the tarmac, some flights got canceled at LaGuardia, so maybe that was part of it. But Port Columbus did come out and say, do not get here 4 hours before. They said an hour and a half is fine. They said if you get here 90 minutes before, you are totally fine. So it sounds like maybe it's not affecting some places like others.
Well, Bake, I think I was so glad that Port Columbus did that, and I think a lot others should probably say that as well, because what happened was chaos ensued. And so whether you're flying at 6 a.m. or 10 a.m., you're all getting there at 2 a.m. So now all of a sudden, all of these people who are in no hurry to get through, and you won't let anybody go in front of you because God forbid that, right?
Yeah.
Because you're worried about yourselves. And it's just like the parent drop-off line. We're only worried about ourselves. And so that's kind of what I think's happening. So I was really happy to see, Port Columbus put that out there. Like, just come 90 minutes, you'll be fine.
I saw over the weekend that people were paying or charging by the hour to stand in line for you. So you could reach out to a service like a dog walker or like a babysitter. Yeah. Like, that's pretty good. Like $75 an hour. And it's like, how much? Honestly, it's a question of how much is your time worth?
It really is.
Mine could be had for $75 an hour. I'll tell you that much.
You give me $100. Look, John Glenn's a nice airport. Like they got a pizza machine. You could make a day of it.
You could. I was my wife handed out a couple of gift cards to the TSA folks as we went through on Friday. They were very appreciative of it. And you feel for all, it's just stupid. We should never be in this type of situation where we're being held hostage by our government. And it's whichever side you're on, just utter nonsense that you're being held hostage it's got to be the busiest time to fly of the year. This and holiday and Christmas.
Yeah.
And the holidays.
If it's not I'd say, Christmas or Thanksgiving.
There's two or three that are the biggest, and this is a month of it, and we're all being held hostage by it, so it's brutal. I will say technology was pretty good because we were able to watch the March Madness on my laptop on several of the flights, so that was a win for everybody. So, look, it was solid. We'll have some more details, some crazy tales, some of the things that are going on down there. And NBC had himself a moment. We'll share that with you as we go along as well. But we'll get back into the March Madness side of things. Incredible drama last night with UConn knocking off Duke, and a little bit of surprise perhaps for some on the Ohio State basketball roster and the decision of Devin Royal. We'll get into that coming up next. It's good to be back, off and running on a Monday. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Don't miss the Floor Madness outlet sale at Right Rug Flooring. Save up to 80% on truckloads of floors and more, including tiles starting at 19 cents a square foot and a massive selection of laminate, luxury vinyl, and carpet, all drastically reduced. Save up to 80% during the Floor Madness outlet sale at Right Rug Flooring on Poth Road in Whitehall. 24-month special financing is available with approved credit. Hurry, the Floor Madness outlet sale ends March 30th. Dealers welcome.
There's an old story about cat toys that's been retold for over 20 years because it perfectly explains who we are. This is Dennis Sullivan, president of Care Heating and Cooling. Years ago, a couple who shared their house with 3 cats had another company out to look at their furnace. After working on it, the technician said it was dangerous and had to be replaced. The couple called Care for a second opinion, and my dad Mike went out to help them. When he inspected the furnace, the cause of the problem became obvious. A cat toy had been stuffed into the heat exchanger. With the toy removed, the furnace ran perfectly. Now, how did the toy get there? You can decide for yourself, but here's what mattered then and still matters now. The first company paid commissions to their service techs to sell new furnaces. At Care, we pay our technicians to fix furnaces, not sell you a new one. And if a new furnace is needed, our team of replacement specialists will advise you on all options available and help you make your best choice. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING when you need a company you can trust.
Coffee, iced cap, refreshers. Tim Hortons has all your favorite beverages. And now you can get your favorite bite for less. When you buy any size beverage, add a baked daily donut for $1, a tasty bagel for $2, or a freshly cracked hot breakfast sandwich for just $3. So next time you order your favorite Tim's beverage, add something that satisfies your cravings and your wallet. The $1, $2, $3 menu. Only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants, must ask for offer in restaurant. Tax extra exclusions and terms apply.
I'm Roger from Columbus. I've lived in Ohio all my life. Owning your home is a cornerstone of the American dream. But for seniors, property taxes keep going up and are costing us everything we've worked for. They're even making it impossible for my grandkids to afford their first homes. Vivek Ramaswamy believes when you own your home, you're in charge. As governor, he'll roll back property taxes to levels from before the end of the pandemic. It's a practical plan that will put thousands of dollars back in your pocket next year while maintaining strong education and dependable police and fire. Ohio's politicians have ignored this crisis for too long. But Vivek Ramaswamy isn't a politician. He's an entrepreneur, and he's ready to fight for you. Ohio needs a leader who makes your life more affordable. That's Vivek Ramaswamy.
Lower costs, bigger paychecks, better schools. Vivek Ramaswamy for governor.
Paid for by Vivek Ramaswamy and Rob McCauley for Ohio.
If only there was a radio show that constantly talked about Ohio State athletics. Well, good news. It's real, baby. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
Proud to be your flagship home of the Buckeyes. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Jeff Wensing.
Public education matters, and attendance matters. Students who show up nearly every day to school can learn, grow, and thrive. But if they're not there, they miss important learning opportunities and can easily end up behind. Families must make their children's school attendance a priority, and educators must be strong partners to support that goal.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Hey, folks, it's game day, and the betting's going to be intense, Drew.
You said it, Dave, but a good pregame routine keeps betting responsible.
That's right. You got to pause before you play.
Good call. Sports betting is hot, but it can be risky.
And pausing to set limits is an all-star move.
That's right, Dave. If you bet on sports, pause before you play to set limits, recognize the risk, and know when to stop.
Learn more at pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We'll see mostly cloudy skies here for today with highs into the lower 70s here this afternoon. And then for tomorrow, we'll see more partly cloudy skies, some more sunshine, and even warmer temperatures with highs in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. It will be very windy as winds gust out of the southwest at 40 miles per hour. And that's a look at your 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Aaron White here on 97.1 The Fan.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. You're home of the Buckeyes, The Fan. If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
You know, we're having that conversation about March Madness and how fun it is and how great these 3 weekends are. And we're going to sit and watch as Michigan's playing. And it feels like that game on Saturday between Michigan and Arizona will be for the national championship, although I just don't know if you could ever doubt Dan Hurley on anything with those operations he has at UConn. That was as stupefying a finish as I've ever seen and as crazy of a thing. But if anyone was going to do it, it was going to be them. That record they put up of him 17-1 in the NCAA tournament since 2023, and his only loss is to Florida by 2, and Florida won the national title that year. That was last year. That's it. 17-1. I mean, that's stupefying level of success that he has there. But if you're watching that, you're saying, well, I'd like to have a bigger part of it. I'd like Buckeye basketball to be a part of it. You have to think about what matters most to you. And by you, I mean the collective you, and the collective, right? That part too, because you have to decide how you're going to allocate your resources and what programs are going to be the most important. And yeah, there's the money that the university gets and that has to be shared out, the 20-some million bucks that has to be spread out for Ohio State amongst 30-some sports, and everybody's got to get a taste of that. And obviously football gets the most, and then men's basketball and women's basketball, and you know how all of that goes. But then beyond that, there's booster dollars. And where are those going to be allocated? And we know that the minimum requirement around here for football is win every game you play and finish in the top 4 in the country and win a national championship every 3 or 4 years. That's kind of what people expect. Make the playoff every year, get to the semifinals every year. That's a very, very high bar. And with that bar comes financial responsibilities that are going to have to be bared by the alumni base. So from a basketball perspective, it just comes down to, from a booster perspective, what do you want Buckeye basketball to be? Because what it comes down to is resource allocation. Simple as that. So you get the story on Sunday that Devin Royal is entering the transfer portal. And you say to yourself, well, wait a second. That's a Pick Central kid. That's a Mr. Ohio basketball. That's a contributor. 13 points, 14 points, 6 boards. Started a lot over the last 3 years. Was a contributor even as a freshman and started the last 2. And why would he leave? Why would Devin Royal leave Ohio State? Well, you have to think of it in a professional sports perspective. So number one, it's resource allocation. And then number 2, it's roster fit. Like it's minutes. And the reality is that Amari Bynum, who you certainly expect to be back and to be compensated richly to come back, and Anthony Thompson most especially, if you're not going to pay a 5-star forward that premium to not play. And those 2 guys play the position that Devin Royal plays. In addition to that, Junie Mobley, you're going to have him back, and he's going to kind of be the face of the operation. So you can't pay them all. If this is 15 years ago, then it's fine. You can make it work. You don't have to worry about it. You can mess around with the rosters a little bit. But the reality is, in this day and age, when you have a bucket of funds to pull from, you can't have the luxury of having someone of Devin's skill set being paid a premium price. And that's what Devin Royal would be on the 25-26 Buckeyes, is a luxury. He's not a necessity because you have other guys who play that position. As sad as that may be, and this is a very professional sports view of it, but that's what we're dealing with right now. Devin Royal needs to play the 3. Well, there's no place for him to play the 3 at Ohio State. And the reality is he's going to be worth more on the open market than he is to this roster. That's just the truth, right? And so he's going to hit the open market. Someone's going to pay him a premium. Think about Cody McMahon. Situation's different, but think about Cody McMahon this year at Ole Miss. So, and I'm not suggesting he's going to be a first-team all-conference wherever he goes. I'm not sure there's that type of ceiling for him. And I get it from his perspective, too. My hunch is Devin Royal is not an NBA first-round pick. He's kind of a tweener. If he's going to play in the league, he's going to have to be a three. And now you're talking about you better knock down every open shot you get from three if you're going to be able to do that. You got to be able to stretch the floor. He's not that good. He's not a good enough shooter for that. So he has to maximize his earning potential right now. He has to. He's got to. So I understand him saying, I'm not going to take less to be a luxury here. I'm going to take a premium because this is my time to make as much money as I can. So I don't think there's any pointing fingers, honestly, guys, at anybody here. I don't think there's pointing fingers at Devin. I don't think you point fingers at Ohio State. I think it's just a product of where we are in the sport. As uncomfortable as that may make you, that's where we are.
This might be as amicable of a split as you could have hoped for, I think. Yeah. Because, and we had said this a couple weeks ago, like Devin Royal, the way he had played throughout the season, certainly worth the value he was getting paid this season. Now, if he wanted a raise and he asked the coaching staff for a raise, then the conversation becomes it's not in the budget. There's not the pie. There's the slice of pie you got last year.
Yeah.
But he had not, I thought, earned himself extra piece. Because what you've got to do now is Bruce is gone, so you got to replace a lot of that scoring, a lot of that floor generalness, and you've got to figure out what to do. Probably give a raise to Junie Mobley, but yeah, Amari Bynum's your number one option. And I would say a retention, I don't know, like a quarterly retention bonus for Anthony Thompson, just to keep him on board. And then you've got to figure out in the transfer portal, how am I going to replace Bruce? Because I don't see anybody on this current roster that can do what Bruce did, not only from a scoring aspect, but to be able to run the offense. Because Junie Mobley's a 2, not a 1. And so
for sure,
that's, I think, your biggest portal allocation. And so that can't come from guys on the roster getting raises. Nobody's deserving of one.
Bo, you just brought up a point that I've never really thought about with Devin Royal and his prospects at the next level. And maybe I just never thought he was a next level guy.
Yeah.
But he's undersized for the 4, but he's probably not quite athletic enough for the 3. It kind of reminds me of E.J. Liddell, and Devin Royal's not even in the same conversation as a basketball player as E.J. Liddell to me.
No.
I'm sure Devin got a pretty penny to come here, and then I think they probably overpaid him to stay. And now there's probably a want for more money now, and that's just not in the cards with Junie Mobley, Anthony Thompson, Amari Bynum, as you said. And I kind of hate the timing of this because I know there were games after the fact, but I feel like, to me, the lasting image that I'm going to have of Devin Royal is that Michigan State game when he was on the bench and he was supposedly too sick to be out there, but he was still there laughing with his teammates and having a good time. And I hate that's going to be my lasting image of him. I wish it was the game after that, the game where he stayed up till 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And got all the shots up. But for some reason, that Michigan State game is always going to be what I'll remember. And I hate that's what I'm going to remember.
Yeah, I think if you're from his perspective too. So just think about it this way: from a roster building standpoint, and that's what this is. There's redundancy, positional redundancy, right? Because you think you have 2 guys, you have 1 guy for sure. Really, you believe you have 2 guys with a higher ceiling than Devin that actually play the position more naturally than he does in Thompson and Bynum. So that solves that. And then from a money allocation standpoint, my guess is Devin was looking at Bruce and going, oh, now I'm getting that. And they're going, because to Reese's point, now they got to go get that. Like, they need a point guard. They need a lead guard to come run the show. So they're going to have to go big game hunting for that position. They also need a 5. I mean, Felix Okpara looked pretty good the last couple years at Tennessee. Like, you need to have a 5 who's a shot blocker, who can rebound and those type of things. And so they got to go find that. So they need a 5 and they need a 1. So that their money, and they're paying Mobley, Thompson, and Bynum.
Remember on the fives part, though, Bo, and I don't know what could happen. You never know. They do have Josh Ojonwuna, who transferred in last year from Baylor and didn't play this year because of a knee injury that he had suffered the previous season. And he's a guy that's 6'10", 250-ish pounds, a good defender and rebounder in the paint. So they do have that at the 5, at least. It's not bare.
You have to decide, I guess what this will come down to is the booster group has to decide what they want. How important is it for Buckeye basketball to be as good as Michigan basketball? Do you want to be a 1 seed? Do you want to go big game hunting like that all the time? And if the answer to that is yes, are you willing to take away from football in order to do so? Because it's one pot. The booster pot's one pot. And you have to decide how we're going to allocate those funds. That's the task of it. And that's the business of where we are in the sport at the moment. And it's kind of that simple. There's not really any other way around it. I think some people, the big misconception I think people have is that Ohio State has infinite booster funds for whatever you need whenever you need it. And there is a ceiling on what can be spent on all of these things. They can spend a lot, but the primary objective is going to be to make sure that football team is a top 4 football program in the country every single year. That's always going to be the case. So I don't know if you'll ever see a situation like we saw around here in 2007 and 2008, or quite honestly, the best of it was probably Florida when they won the national championship in football and basketball. You're not going to see that at that level consistently out of one athletic department. Certainly not one with 38 sports or 36.
And a lot of people I've heard say, well, look at Alabama. Look at Tennessee. Mm-hmm. They're doing well at basketball. They're not where Ohio State is in football right now.
Yeah, look at Tennessee and look at Alabama and look at Georgia. Look at the roster fall off on those programs. Look at them. Do you want to be Alabama football? This isn't 5 years ago. It's different now. They can't keep up. They can't spend. It's actually much easier. Arkansas was pretty smart. Arkansas pivoted and say, all right, can we buy an entire football roster? No, not to compete at the highest level, but we might be able to get Calipari, and we might be able to get Darius Acuff, and we might be able to compete at basketball pretty quickly because it's less people and less money. So those are the decisions that are being made at the top level. Bake gave me a point total before he left to go call the high school. What you're doing high school basketball, right? Gave me a point total for the Blue Jackets. I asked one thing of the Blue Jackets. Give me a stress-free week so that when I come back, we're smooth sailing into the postseason. That's not what we got, kids. But Bake tells us that we're still safe. We'll get to it in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off a closing cost. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 5.99% APR, 6.02% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3rd-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. You know, spring cleaning is a thing that happens in the spring. Go figure, it's in the name. But as you're getting rid of some stuff in your house that you no longer need, doesn't work right, or you never should have had in the first place, why don't you add your windows to that list? Yeah, your windows may have bad insulation. That's why they let in the cold air in the winter and the warm air in the summer. Makes your home less energy efficient. It's costing you money every single month. With Window Nation, you get high-quality, energy-efficient products at a great price. All of Window Nation's products are backed by a lifetime warranty, and right now is a great time to upgrade. The more you buy, the more you save in March. Up to 50% off all window styles from Window Nation. Plus, there's great financing options, including $0 down, 0% interest for 60 months, and payments as little as $199 a month. The first step is getting a consultation with Window Nation so they can find the problem areas in your house. I'm going to guess they're near the windows. So schedule that consultation for free today at windownation.com. Once again, that's windownation.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you? All right, here's what's up on a Monday, March 30th, year of our Lord 2026. We have, from the Columbus Blue Jackets perspective, 8 games remaining. We sit at 88 points. If you pull up where they are in the standings, and all of you know this who have been locked into this over the last couple of weeks, you know that they are currently the second wild card at 88 points, but they also are in a tie with Pittsburgh, although Pittsburgh has a game in hand for third in the Metropolitan. They are a point out of second of the Metropolitan. They are also being chased by Philly and the Wings and the Senators and everybody else, and now all of those teams have a game in hand. So it has gotten dicey. There was a chance to separate. They weren't able to do so. I do think that the thing that jumped out to me after the loss yesterday, and Bake, I know that you were there, Rick Bowness, and this has been smooth sailing with him the whole time. There's been some rough waters here lately, although they're still obviously right in the middle of it. I think this was the fight. And Bake, was this you that asked the question?
So I asked him basically the follow-up question.
Okay.
He was talking about what went wrong after the first and said what he said, and then I asked the follow-up question about what the guys is going through this the only way they can learn.
All right, let's play it in order then. Let's play the first one where he gets into what he gets into, and then your question. We don't have that part, I'm guessing, but then we'll get to his audio. Go ahead.
Well, we got away from being aggressive. And we did. And I thought we got very selfish with the puck. Some of these guys, they've got a lot to learn about how to play in this league at this time of year. It gets harder and harder and harder. And we're going to keep reminding them every day how hard it is to win at this time of the year. And you just can't get away. And I hate when we play on our heels. And we were back a little bit, give them credit. They started coming. But there's a lot to be learned from some of these guys. And they better damn well start listening.
Pretty pointed from Rick. I mean, as pointed as it gets. So then you asked the follow-up question, Bacon. What was the question as you phrased it?
So I asked him, is the only way for these guys to learn to go through it, or can you talk about it and they learn a little bit that way? And then if these conversations are going to be hard?
Oh, it'll be hard. It won't be hard for me. It'll be hard on them. Yeah, they are. Listen. I've been talking to them about since the break how hard it is to get into the playoffs. It's hard, and every game gets harder, and it does. And they're going to keep hearing me say that right till the final whistle of the season. And we're not backing off. So it's got to register.
When Bake, you go to all these. Who do you think that is pointed towards? Group of players, specific players. When he said some of these guys have to learn, who do you think that's pointed at?
It's interesting because there was no Kent Johnson in the lineup last night. There was no Dmitry Voronkov in the lineup last night. He had, I thought the top line, especially Fantilli and Marchenko, played well and were noticeable. I don't know if there was a shot at them there. Marchment has kind of had his ice time the past couple of games, knocked down a little bit compared to the other two. Boone Jenner took a really bad penalty at a really bad time. Boone has been through this before, and he's your captain. I wouldn't think it's at him. He loves the Coyle, Sillinger, Olivier line, even though Olivier left after one shift in the second period last night. Is it defenseman? I'm not really sure who that's targeted at.
Feels like it's the leaders and the older guys on this team, less kind of the youth that they've got. Because like you had mentioned, about Boone taking a bad penalty, and it's poor decision making, sloppy play at the worst times. It's understanding with a 3-goal lead going into the second period, and you start playing on your heels. You start playing lighter. You don't have as much. The attention to detail starts to lack. And it would be a thing if last night wasn't the first of 3. Like there was, one loss in 3, but it's your third straight loss. And all 3 different frustrating reasons why you blew those games. But at this point, the attention to detail needs to be there. The sense of urgency needs to be there, and it feels lacking in recent games. It's from a fan's perspective. So when I hear what else say that, I feel, or Bonus say that, I feel like that's the whole team, but the guys who are in leadership positions and stepping up and not putting their team in a hole at the worst time.
I think it's interesting because the night before against San Jose, you played maybe one of the worst games you've played. You were lucky to be tied and even have a shot to get that in overtime late. And after the game, Bonus talked a lot about their legs. They didn't have their legs. We know the reason why, but they didn't have their legs. Well, that would make sense of what happened last night, right? You came out on fire. Maybe the best period of hockey you've played all year. And then as you go on, you start to lose those legs and things happen. I don't know if it's the timing of those comments that's interesting to me, or also maybe the timing that on the same night John Tortorella gets rehired, you have a press conference kind of like Torts, where Torts would do those things to send a message throughout the team, probably something he had already told the team, but now it's going to get out there in the public because it's not getting through. I don't know.
Yeah. Yogi Berra, I think, is the first to say it. He gets credited for it. There is a sense of deja vu all over again here. Like, the boys are asking me, like, about the Jackets and the franchise, and I said, God, it's a great barn. They got great people working there. It's an awesome place to go. They're only the very best people in that organization. Some of the best people I've met in this town work in that organization. And they said, well, yeah, but how would you describe like what they are? And I said, well, the phrase that I use on the show is that they're perpetually chasing the 8. Like that's kind of what they've been for most of the 20 years I've been here. They've had some dips, certainly, where they end up picking high, but then inevitably they pivot right back, to chasing the 8. And so that's just where they are. And here we are sitting here because the last show that we did before I went on holiday there, they had put themselves in a position in the 2 slot in the Metro. And I was looking at power rankings over the weekend. They're 6th. In the total NHL, and you're flying high, and you go, okay, we're not going to have to worry about this wild card stuff. And by the way, they're still just a point out of second in the Metro. So, like, this can all go away pretty quickly. But for so many of you out there who, for the diehards, I'm sure it feels like deja vu all over again. For those of you wanting to jump on a bandwagon, you're saying to yourself, well, wasn't I just doing this last year? Wasn't I in this spot last year? And this team feels much more real to me than the team did last year. But here we are again, chasing the 8. And it's just like, can we get in? And that's what it is. And I think it said at 97 is your point total. That was minimum.
I think 96.
96. That's probably where they need to be. So that's a point a game the rest of the way. And that might do it.
And here's the thing. You've had the worst stretch you've had since Rick Bowness has taken over. You've lost 4 of your last 5. Only one of those losses did you get the overtime point and the shootout point, and that was last night.
Yeah.
But you're still in a playoff spot.
You're in it.
You're still in a playoff spot. You're 2 points clear of the teams chasing you. And as you said, if 96, which I think is pretty realistic, you could lose every game in overtime. And you get to that the rest of the way. So I'm not a sky is falling. Maybe it helps that we just lost our minds and buried the Ohio State basketball team over an Iowa loss, and then they got in the tournament anyways. Now, I don't know if that helps you getting in and losing in the first round. I think it probably does for some of these young guys, for the Adam Fantillis, for the Kirill Marchenkos, the Denton Matejchuks, the Jet Greaves. I think it does help those guys.
Sure.
But I'm not going to lose my mind right now because we just saw this with the Ohio State basketball team.
Yeah. I think that I don't think that there was any coincidence that Bowness said what he said when he said it. As you just illustrated, this is the worst stretch since he's been there. This is the first real true adversity that they've had. And I think to your point, I think what he said in the locker room, he just echoed in the media so that it is known. He's saying He's cutting this off at the pass. That's what that presser was about. Like, this stops now. It can't avalanche into not getting points against Carolina twice this week. If that happens, then you got an avalanche on your hands, and it's too late. Half the mountain fell down. And that's where I think he thinks his team is right now, and I think that's why he said what he said when he said it.
And it can be, you can call it an excuse, you can call it a reason, you can call it whatever you want. Everybody's playing a lot of games right now, but you just played 6 and 9. And the last 3, you lost a player in each game that left due to injury. So you were not only playing 6 and 9 last night, but you were playing shorthanded as well.
Yeah. And that no one's going to feel sorry for anybody. So find a way, get in. That's the job at hand. I would say certainly not shocking. But it was one of those things when I saw the news of this and it started to go around, it was one of those things where the whispers started to go everywhere in the building that I was in. We'll get to that story coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Our yoga instructor challenged us to find inner peace. I found it faster than anyone. After 4 seconds, I stood up and screamed, "I found Nirvana! I win!" They asked me to leave. I guess they don't respect winning. Bet365 does, though. New customers get $365 in bonus bets just for betting $10. Namaste, losers. Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-MY-RESET. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. Green & Sons has all the Kubotas you need to tackle your land and come out a winner. They have zero-turns, skid steers, tractors from 18 to 171 horsepower, and also utility vehicles. My favorite is my RTV Sidekick. The best thing about Green & Sons is they've been family-owned and operated since 1970, and you will love dealing with the Green family and their winning team. Do what I did and check out Green & Sons located in Mount Sterling and Marysville or online at greenandsons.com for all your Kubota needs.
Common Man here for Jermaine. Everybody's talking about affordability when buying a car these days, but the truth is, GoJermaine.com has a great selection of affordable inventory. Maybe that tax return's going to hit your mailbox pretty soon. Well, go see my friends because they have 300 new cars under 30 grand, over 300 used cars under 20 grand, and it's only at GoJermaine.com. And along with their $1,000 price promise, no one's going to sell you a car for less. Get started at GoJermaine.com.
Spring cleaning isn't just for your house, it's for your life. If your job is getting old, it's time to clear the clutter and spring into IT. Go to My Computer Career.
My Computer Career helped me get the skills and certifications I needed to start a new life as an IT professional in months, not years.
Earn the certifications the top employers are looking for right now. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation to see if it's time to spring into IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. If you or anyone in your family has been injured in a car accident, call us now, as the time to file a claim may be limited. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before, protecting America, fighting for you. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law.
Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Like a rite of spring, Tee to Green begins Masters Week, hosted by Skip Mossick, Lifetime Achievement Award winner by the Southern Ohio PGA. It adds a touch of class to the radio station.
Hey, everybody, we're all going to get laid.
Saturday mornings at 9 on The Fan.
Newman Roofing, as part of their 2026 Commitment to Community initiative, is proud to partner with 10TV and The Fan to relaunch Raise the Roof, honoring local heroes going above and beyond. We are calling on you to help us recognize the volunteers, educators, first responders, and everyday difference makers who are making a meaningful impact in your community to be recognized on 10TV and The Fan. Send in your nominations and stories to 10tv.com/raisetheroof. 10tv.com/raisetheroof. Nominate a local hero today and help us raise the roof for those who make a difference.
It's Timmy Hall here with Gordon Miller, founder of Miller Lending. Now, Gordon, I remember hearing of your no-cost mortgages back in 2008 when I was on the air in Raleigh-Durham. So what brings you to Central Ohio?
Hey, Tim. Small world, isn't it? But we saw Columbus as the perfect market
market to offer our no closing cost mortgage product. With a growing population and relocations, it was similar to our original decision to expand into Raleigh back in '96.
Well, I got to see firsthand how well it worked in Carolina. So how about explaining to our listeners how it truly has no closing cost associated?
That's right, Tim. Way back in 1987, I found a way to do mortgages without using the standard method of buying the rate down with thousands of dollars in various costs. Rates were volatile, much like they are today. And folks were stuck at higher rates because it simply costs too much to refinance. There had to be a better way, and we think we found it.
That was Gordon Miller, founder of Miller Lending, the home of the no-cost loan. Give him a call, 877-9-NO-COST, or online at nocostmortgage.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender. NMLS number 250-2146.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by KDHVAC, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan, the show that understands the importance of a situational beverage. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, coming up at in about 13 minutes from now, an incredible gamble by a program that really believes it will be a Big Ten team before too long. We'll get to that coming up shortly. Austin Ward coming up at 10:30. I was in the airport flying back from Florida on Friday when I started to notice, especially there was a ton of people in the waiting, and started noticing people on their phones and starting to pass them along and show the screen. And undoubtedly on the screen was the news of Tiger Woods being arrested for suspicion of driving under the influence from a car crash that had happened on Friday. Woods was in a rollover car crash on Friday down in South Florida, and then was arrested on suspicion of drunk driving. As you certainly know by now, he did pass the breathalyzer, a blue all zeros on that, but did refuse to submit to a lawful test in terms of, I believe it was a urine test, was it not, that he was asked to submit to, and he said no dice on that. And so at that point, that is when they went ahead and got it done. The thing with Tiger is he truly was at his apex, he was the Daenerys Targaryen, if you're a fan of Game of Thrones. He wasn't a spoke on the wheel, he was the wheel, is what he was. And he has really not been relevant from a playing standpoint now in a very long time. He won the Masters again, was that 18 when he won it?
I think it was 19.
19, and that one kind of came out of nowhere, but he was able to piecemeal it together and kind of get it done, and he did, and he won it. But that's been a long time now, and since then he's been in multiple car accidents, one that almost cost him his leg and really has cost him his mobility and his ability to play on the PGA Tour in any real meaningful way. He always hints that he wants to play the Masters, and was kind of hinting towards maybe heading back towards that before this latest issue that happened on Friday. You just hope, as a fan of sport and a fan of his, that there is some help that needs to be received on his end, because this stuff happens way too often for him, and it happens time and time again, and it's tough to continue to hear about it. He is still just 50 years old. He's a relatively young guy. I mean, Phil Mickelson won a PGA at Kiowa into his 50s. So if health would have been there for him and this wasn't part of the problem, then there's no reason that he couldn't still do it. But we're long past that now. And so now you're to the point where you just hope that he kind of gets his life squared away. We still haven't heard anything publicly from him, correct? I haven't seen anything.
Not since Friday's news, no.
Not since Friday's news, yeah. So you can't say shocking, because we've been down this road with him now quite a bit.
Disappointing's the word.
There you go.
There was the news last week where he was playing professional golf again for the first time in 2026, and for the first time since his, seventh back surgery. And I think that, we had talked last week with Joshua Perry that this was setting up I'm coming for Augusta. I'm going to try to, I'm going to do the first round. Maybe that gets you into the weekend if you're able to walk around, but it's just so unforgiving on the human body. And the TGL thing is just not a one-to-one comparison between first round at Augusta. And so it would be ambitious at best. Then the news comes out of the weekend and you think on Sunday there's no possible way. But he had registered to compete in the U.S. Senior Open prior to even the TGL news, and obviously much more prior to the weekend, the news of the weekend. And so that's July 2nd through the 5th at Scioto Country Club in Upper Arlington. If he competes in that, and there's still time to do that, and obviously you hope he gets the help that he clearly needs, but he's got to be the one to ask for it. right? You're living on Jupiter Island, Florida. You're a multi-millionaire crouching on billionaire status. The help's got to be something that you ask for. Maybe there's a chance he does that.
And you guys know that's the thing I kept talking about. I was excited about that because it was in town, that maybe his first U.S. Senior Open, that he would be here and competing. It's a sad situation, and you don't know, right? You don't know yet what happened, and they said they probably never know. Like, I don't know how he's going to – I don't know how DUI charges are going to hold up in this.
They won't.
When the sheriff said, we'll probably never know. So they're not going to hold up. And we don't – I guess we don't know. Like, what if he hit his head and was just kind of loopy after that, and he was just driving too fast? Now, that's probably not the case.
No.
But the other thing is here, whatever substance he was on is probably prescribed.
I think it was the last time, too.
Yeah, and so the issue here is you just can't be driving while you're doing this. Like, I don't know if Tiger Woods has an addiction problem, but what I do know is he has a problem with driving himself when he's on pills that he shouldn't be driving with.
These are happening in the middle of the day, Bake.
Yes.
I mean, the one in L.A. where he almost killed himself, that's in the middle of the morning.
And he's obviously got a problem with driving too fast, because all of these have had to do with excessive speeds.
They have, yeah. It's all sad. And, Reese, you used the line, the 7 back surgeries. I mean, this is a story as old as time immemorial, Like, how do you get through the back pain? Pain pills, I mean, it's a gross addiction that's really hard to shake. And, it feels like it's one of those things. It's a demon that he just can't quite all the way conquer.
Yeah, he had talked about last week. Some days he'd feel invincible, and then other days he couldn't get out of bed. And it's like, how to bridge that is that kind of medication that explicitly says do not operate heavy machinery. A Land Rover is a piece of heavy machinery.
Yeah, yep.
It would think to me that you just can't be driving. Like his license. If there are charges that stick, the license needs to be revoked before anything else.
Yeah, I think to Bake's point, there won't be anything because there's no way to prove it.
And if you're somebody in Tiger's inner circle, like, dude, get a driver. You've got plenty of money. You can have one on retainer. Yeah. Like, stop. Like, somebody in his inner circle has got to say, hey, bud, come on, man.
First thing, you have to identify that it's a problem.
He's got to do it.
He's got to.
And it doesn't sound like he has for a long enough span.
Has baseball started?
Just a little bit.
First series win.
You'd be proud of how little we talked baseball last week.
This one belongs to the Reds.
Redlegs off to a nice start.
2-1 over the Red
DeLauder
Sox.
kid hits a home run about every other plate appearance.
He's going to average 162 for 162. They've got the Dodgers starting tonight.
Oh.
So goodbye 500 record, because the Dodgers look invincible.
Ooh, this is the show series. Bo's Dodgers versus Reese's Guards.
This is bug meets windshield right now.
Stay up till
Guardians can't do anything in the outfield. They can't hit outside of DeLauder. So
Bo's Dodgers, is Oral Hershiser on the mound? Fernando Valenzuela, is he on the mound?
They'd still beat the Guardians.
They might.
Wasn't Dave Roberts playing for them then?
He'd beat the Guardians right now.
Sacks. Is he in the mix? All right, second hour of the program. I saw one of the boldest plays I've ever seen in collegiate athletics. I saw it firsthand. I'm going to tell you about it coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
During this 10-second promo, Rothman will lose money gambling on something.
People like you come here and blow the family nest egg that built this town.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Tired of snoring? Dr. Mark Levy can help with a custom mouthpiece that opens your airway and stops the snoring. No mask, no noise. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit sleepbettercolumbus.com today. Stop snoring. Sleep better. Live better.
Forget the pot of gold. Save some green at Coughlin Chevrolet. Lease a new 26 Chevy Trax, $169 a month. New 26 Equinox, lease for $229 a month. Or lease a new 26 Silverado, $359 a month. Visit CoughlinChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive.
Coughlin has the car for you. 39-month leases. Silverado 36-month lease. $39.99 due at signing plus tax, title, and license. 10,000 miles per year, 25 cents per mile over. See dealer for details. Ends 3/31/26.
Is 2026 the year you achieve your health goals? The Good Feet store wants to help. Trade in your bad feet for good feet. We want to help you walk, run, exercise, and play in comfort this year. Visit the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway near the Polaris Mall or on Stringtown Road in Grove City.
Common Man here for Weed Man. I talk to you about Weed Man every year. Why? Simple. Number one, I use it. Number two, it works. You want to get those lawn roots thick, baby, because when that happens, they resist weeds, disease, and insects, and they're using top-of-the-line stuff. We're talking golf course quality. Weed Man is locally owned and operated by Corbin and Audrey. They will take care of you. Proudly serving Central Ohio and our Dayton friends. Call your local office, 614-733-3747, weedman.com.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place.
Wilson, we put new windows in a Dublin home last week. You wouldn't believe how much new light was let in. Changed the entire mood of the home.
You don't need fancy windows to change the mood of a room, Leslie. Know what else will do that? Wilson's Wicks, my new candle line. Here, smell this one.
Oh, that's bad.
I call it warm tuna salad. It's not for everyone.
Get the windows that can completely change the look and feel of your home at PellaColumbus.com.
Spring is hatching at the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium. Join us April 3rd and 4th for Eggs, Paws, and Claws presented by Kroger. Hop on over for 2 days of extra special fun with photos with the Easter Bunny, meet Egbert, and roll into Shelley's Rolling Shellebration. Clues are hidden all around the zoo for explore and find, so bring your sense of adventure. Get your discounted tickets at Kroger and don't miss this extreme spring celebration at the Columbus Zoo.
March Madness is here again, and so is a Great Clips $12.99 haircut coupon. From dominating the bracket pool to demolishing game day snacks, Great Clips gets that March is every fan's favorite month. And with a $12.99 haircut coupon, your hair can be as ready for the action as you are. Grab a $12.99 haircut coupon now at greatclips.com/March Madness. Great Clips, official hair salon of March Madness. Valid only at participating U.S. salons. Terms apply. March Madness is a trademark of the National Collegiate Athletic Association.
I take care of the kids, my dad, things at work, but I haven't made time to take care of what I need.
Millions of caregivers experience symptoms of anxiety and depression. Go to mentalhealthcareworks.org to learn how to get the support you deserve. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
At Baths R Us, we believe home improvement is life improvement. As the Midwest's fastest growing 5-star bathroom remodeler, we're more than just transformations. We're a community driven by a mission to bring your dreams to life. Our installation team, part of the Baths R Us community, isn't just skilled. They're dedicated to respecting your home. Each day, they bring craftsmanship and hustle, turning your dream space, no matter the size, into reality. Together, we embrace a culture that values diversity, collaboration, and giving back. From supporting local projects to fostering a workplace where every voice is valued, Baths R Us is more than a company. It's a community of experts. We're also expanding locations to create more possibilities for homeowners across the Midwest. Wherever you are, you'll find us ready to turn your dreams into something you can see, feel, and enjoy every day. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel. Plus, low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsrus.com. Baths R Us, where dreams soak in.
The Reds are on the radio!
And he caught it! No way! What a grab! Noel V. Marte!
Ellie De La Cruz is on his horse, and they're waving him to the house.
Suarez swings. He drives this. It is gone! Eugenio Suarez puts the Reds on top.
The quest for October baseball is underway. Hear all the action all season long on your home of the Reds.
Hey, it's T-Bone again. Listen up. Sleep apnea doesn't have to rule your nights. Dr. Mark Levy's been treating snoring and sleep apnea for over 15 years with proven results. And now he has an office in Marysville. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or go to sleepbettercolumbus.com. Stop snoring, sleep better, live better.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The college basketball transfer portal opens next Tuesday, April 7th, and Devin Royal plans to enter after 3 years at Ohio State. The junior forward from Pickerington will have 1 season of eligibility left. The portal opens 1 day after the national title game. The participants will be decided on Saturday with the Final Four in Indianapolis. Michigan will play Arizona. Illinois will take on UConn. On the women's side, UConn and UCLA are off to the Final Four. The last 2 tickets will be punched on Monday. Michigan takes on Texas, while South Carolina plays TCU. On the ice at Nationwide last night, the Blue Jackets dropped their 3rd straight in a 4-3 shootout loss to the Bruins. Columbus led 3-0 entering the 3rd period. The slide has the Jackets in the 2nd wildcard spot in the East. CBJ will host the Hurricanes on Tuesday with 7 to play after that. This update is sponsored by High Bank Distillery Co. Locally inspired dishes and award-winning cocktails. Visit highbankco.com to make your reservation. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
The best hair on the air. You are listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a Monday edition of the program. Some conversation around Jeremiah Smith and some of the big bidders who came for him. Coming up here in about 16 minutes from now, Austin Ward at the bottom of the hour, 10:30, will join us with an update on spring football as that is progressing. So, as is well documented, I spent 6 years covering the Florida State football team in the early 2000s and before coming up here, and really, upon arrival, fell in love with all of it. I mean, it was the height of Bobby Bowden. They had finished in the top 4 in the country 14 years in a row. I was in my very early 20s. It's a fun place to be in your very early 20s. Hell, it's a fun place to be in your 40s as well. But because of the cancellation of our trip and stuff, and ending up on 30A in the Florida Panhandle, my wife and I were saying, gosh, maybe we got to roll back. It'd be fun to. We hadn't been back since I moved out of town, and so let's see. We spent some time of our life there. Let's go see what it's all about. So, a couple of my really good buddies have reached kind of luminary status down there, and have one in particular is good buddies with the current Florida State athletic director, Michael Alford. And so I said, he goes, well, would you want to see anything at Florida State? And I said, yeah, I'd be very curious. The boys would love it. I'd like to see what it's all up to, because one of the things that's been pretty consistent, and if you listen regularly, you know this, I'm pretty dismissive, or have been pretty dismissive of Florida State's chances of entering the Big Ten for various logistical reasons. And then the other part of it was always, do they have enough money to write a big enough check to be able to get out of the ACC to be able to jump into the Big Ten? Well, let's just say this, and I'll save you some of the boring details on this. From an academic standpoint, this was another thing that I was curious about. They're getting there. Their acceptance rate, they have benefited like a great many of these southern big football schools have, where so many of these northern kids want to go south to warmer climates to go to school. And so what used to be a relatively easy place to get into is now a brutally hard place to get into. And this repeats at Auburn and Clemson and Georgia, and a lot of those southern schools have kind of that similar effect, where northern kids want to go south for school because they want the warmth, and the world's gotten smaller. So they benefited from that. But then from a financial standpoint, I was curious to see where they kind of stacked up. So Michael Alford was great. He was incredible. This was his vision. And I would just tell you that I've never seen anything like it. I have never seen anything like what Florida State did with their football program. I have never seen something of this scope. I've never seen something of this luxury. I've never seen anything that had a bigger bet on where kind of the sport and the consumption of it is going. Time will tell if it actually pays off or not. But I can tell you on first appearances and first impressions, it is the finest football facility I have ever seen in my life, college or pro. And I would tell you that what they did at the football stadium, which is a relatively new stadium, Doak Campbell Stadium, it always was a very, very cool stadium. They closed basically a quarter of it to renovate one whole side. Guys, they put what essentially amounts to Four Seasons hotel chain level box suites. I'm talking marble and granite and leather chairs and this incredible premium. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'll put some pictures up on social. I'll show you. I asked if I could, and he said I could. I'll show you. You won't believe what they did in the football in the stadium. It defies all logic. It's nicer than anything I've seen, and I'm talking Jerry World. I had a buddy who had his wedding reception at the Minnesota Vikings facility. It's nicer than anything I've seen there. Nicer than anything with the Dallas Cowboys. And then we walked into the football facility. nicer than anything I've ever seen, ever. I mean, they bet on facilities, booster, and fan engagement in their premium spaces in a way I've never seen. Now, I don't know if the bet will pay off. I don't. But as I'm taking a tour of this place, I'm saying to myself, they are operating as if they are coming to the Big Ten in 2029. They're operating that way. It was a stupefying level of luxury in the football facility and in the stadium. And the logical question, I think it's a fair question to ask, is can you do this while also funding a roster? Can you do it? And as we bring this back home, and Ohio State tries to walk that fine line of how do we make sure that our fans are satisfied at a level of luxury that they've come to expect or require for everywhere else, while also maintaining a football program on the field that demands it. That's the needle that Alford's trying to thread at Florida State. That's where they're at. They've built the buildings. Now they've got to put the roster on the field. They've got to win the games to justify all of it. That's the spot they're in right now. But in terms of the audacity to try to pull something like this off, I've never seen anything like it. Truly. NFL, college, anywhere. I've never seen anything like it.
Do they have a singular billionaire booster, or they just have several multi-millionaire boosters who are enthused by, I guess, what they did in 2023, and maybe that snub kind of propelled, or I guess
good point.
It reinvigorated them to put money into this, because 5-7, 2-10 the year before that. I know that was the roster just jettisoned after they got snubbed of the college football playoff. But what does that do to the heat on Mike Norvell's seat? I mean, only increases it tenfold, right?
Yeah, and this is not scores. We didn't get into any of that, but just I think from the Norvell, I think the out 30,000 feet perspective was, could Florida State afford the buyout on Norvell? Was part of the reason that he was back. I mean, I think a lot of people had that conversation, and that's one of those things. When I was walking around this joint, I was just thinking to myself, especially the stadium, like what they did to the stadium. I thought, my God, if they're charging this for this, what could Ohio Stadium charge?
I know they're doing those new boxes this fall on the south stands.
Yeah, this is that times a billion. This is, I mean, I've been in the luxury suites because when the Buckeyes played there for the national championship, I've been in luxury suites at Jerry World. I've been in the luxury suites at Minnesota Vikings, which is now the best stadium on the planet, save for perhaps Real Madrid until the Browns build theirs. What they did dwarfs it from a stadium premium experience perspective. I've never seen anything like it, college or pro. And I just thought, if you're Ross Bjork and you're the really powerful people around here, where are you with that? Are you keeping because one of the things he said is that various NFL teams have come by, like Nebraska came in, all of these big-time programs came in and saw their facilities and were like, okay, this is kind of what we need to do maybe going forward to find some money. We use that term all the time. Here's some found money. So, and I don't know what the premium was on these suites. It had to be massive, but whatever it is down there, it would be fourfold here.
So was it half of Florida State Stadium they demolished for those renovations?
It's probably a quarter. They didn't demolish it. They just repurposed it. Yeah. So what used to be like bench seating is now these premium seating options. And they basically bid it for a season to undertake it.
You'd probably have to do something similar to Ohio Stadium.
If you were going to try, you would. Yeah.
I think of a couple things here. One is are they going to get a return on investment?
That's it.
On this for Florida State? Is it going to help them become a better football program? And two, I think of, the day is coming when there's going to be a lot of Ohio State fans really angry because decisions are going to have to be made. And even if you don't demolish the shoe, but even if you take part of it and change it, and there's going to be a group of fans that are really, really unhappy about that.
And I don't know I'm not sure which came first. I think Reese probably has it, that the snubbing in part led to this booster engagement.
Because I just can't see a world where you win 2 games in a year at Florida State and they're like, yeah, we'll run you back.
Yeah, I would imagine maybe it was in the works before. It's a bad job out of me for not knowing the timeline on it, but I'm guessing the snubbing kind of probably buoyed their efforts even more to try to knock these things down. The question for Ohio State is, do you be proactive and do this now before it becomes a problem? Like try to do something and I'm not saying to this level, but some portion of this now before it becomes a problem. Or do you say, it's not a problem here? We're going to sell every seat. We're going to charge a premium for boxes, even though our boxes aren't in the vicinity of those. We can get away with it because our football team is what our football team is. It's what comes first. Now, around here, we're lucky because we have them both, always. We've got the greatness, and we've got the money, and we've got all those things. But this level that they executed down there, and I'll put some of this up on social, I've never seen anything like it. Never. And to your point, you want to use ROI, it's a great point. This is not going to get an immediate return on this, but it might in 2029. Like if they find themselves in the Big Ten in 2029, if they have dance partners and there's an expansion or whatever, and you heard Sankey's comments last week about kind of where all this feels like it's going, facility-wise, they're in position. Now, do they have money to pay for a roster and all those other things? Who knows? But when I saw this and I thought about facility-wise Ohio State and where it is in comparison, there isn't. But on the field, which is what we care about most, there also isn't a comparison between the two. And so my guess is most of you would prefer the football field, what happens on the field, to be more important than the seat that you're sitting in or the luxury box that you're hosting clients or guests in. That's my guess. But that's the bet that they had down there. I'll put some of the stuff up. It's stupefying stuff. All right, coming up next, Jeremiah Smith. Boy, did people come for him hard. He acknowledges it. We get into all of that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Wake up with The Fan. Eat lunch with The Fan. Go to bed with The Fan. Dream about The Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
When you've thrown over 4,000 innings like I have, you know joint pain isn't a maybe, it's a guarantee. For you, was it climbing ladders or too much heavy lifting? Hey, we're all in the same boat. But surgery, that was never my answer.
Baseball legend Roger Clemens knows there's a better way. That's QC Kinetics regenerative treatments that help your body heal itself. No scalpels, no fake fixes, just real relief.
What I love about QC Kinetics, these are the most respected medical pros in the country that specialize in non-surgical therapies to get you moving again.
Don't mask the pain, fix it. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
I trusted QC Kinetics. You should too.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Your reputation matters. That's why so many landscape professionals choose Gravely. You can save up to 20% on Gravely commercial mowers during the Gravely Mow the Distance sales event starting April 9th. Visit your local Gravely dealer today.
Great Lakes Hyundai. The savings are so good.
Take your shot to save at Great Lakes Hyundai. Shoot the hoop to get extra savings on your new car purchase. On top of big shot savings like 0% financing on 26 Hyundai Santa Fe's and Tucson's for up to 5 years. Plus, make no payments for 90 days. It's the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Dublin or Columbus or glakeshyundai.com. With Pro credit, some customers may not qualify. Interest accrues during no payment period. New Hyundais come equipped with owner assurance and America's Best warranty. A 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage. Offer ends 3/31.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off a closing cost. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, Go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 5.99% APR, 6.02% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3rd-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
The Jackets are back at Nationwide for a battle with the Hurricanes. Live fan coverage starts Tuesday night at 7.
Sponsored by Atlas Butler Heating and Cooling.
Proud to be your flagship home of the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Fan.
Flexible, secure, fun. Oh, and great pay, too. Are you not sure what you want to do for a career? Or are you thinking of changing careers? Being a dental hygienist or dental assistant may be the perfect fit for you and provides all of these perks, plus more. Talk with a dentist in your community or visit ODA.org to learn more. Become a valuable member of the dental team and start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
Some foot issues just can't be fixed by those expensive shoe stores or shoe inserts. A foot exam from a doctor of podiatric medicine, who is the medical expert in foot and ankle care, may give solutions after doing a complete foot examination. If you suffer from foot, heel, or ankle pain, let us help you find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association so you know you are being treated by the very best.
For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We'll see mostly cloudy skies here for today with highs into the lower 70s here this afternoon. And then for tomorrow, we'll see more partly cloudy skies, some more sunshine, and even warmer temperatures with highs in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. It will be very windy as winds gust out of the southwest at 40 miles per hour. And that's a look at your 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Aaron White here on 97.1 The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter demands that you watch Morning Juice on YouTube. If you don't, Tito will move into your house.
Live at 6 a.m. on YouTube and streaming on the Fan app.
After putting up with Dom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
Indeed it is. We're proudly sponsored, brought to you by our great friends at Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for nearly 8 decades. I put some of those pictures up at Florida State. It's a massive gamble. It's a massive gamble. It's the chicken before the egg thing. And then what is the importance of the facilities, not just for prospective recruits, but also for fans? What does it matter? What is the premium on that? Is there enough found money in it to justify all of it? So that's the bet that they're making down there. But in terms of just what was built, defied all logic, truly. What they did. I was absolutely blown away with it. But we also live in a world where for so many of these guys, and you saw Don Staley with these comments over the weekend as well, for so many of these players in the recruiting world and in the transfer world, it comes down to who's going to pay me the most. And where's the premium? You can have your facilities. You can have, we talk about the Buckeye Brotherhood. Hell, John Shire yesterday at his press conference is wearing a shirt that says the Brotherhood over it at Duke. But my guess is the reason that they got the Boozers and Cooper Flagg and Knuppel and all the rest of these guys over the last decade is because from a premium financial standpoint, they were ready to write those checks. And for a lot of players, that's what matters most. It doesn't matter the most to everybody, but it does matter the most to some. There are other instances, and there's another level, and that is where Jeremiah Smith comes in. Jeremiah Smith, if there were a true open market for him and a true bidding war, and it was something that he really cared about, probably could have got as high a valuation as anyone in the sport considering the time and place that we're in. I suppose if Arch Manning would have entered the portal, maybe Julian, but Arch would probably be the number one overall. But Jeremiah would have to be number two. That number was out there, had to be massive. But he's got a lot going on, guys. I mean, he's got his Adidas deal. He's been compensated very richly here. And then for him, because of all of that and the comfortable lifestyle that he has around here, he can focus on the big picture, which is how do I get best prepared to play in the National Football League? Jeremiah Smith had an availability over the weekend and was asked about teams and offers. Here was his response.
No, I wasn't surprised. I mean, I knew, especially at the end of that game, that a certain program was going to come at me very hard. But I'm not going to say no names. I think everybody here know who it was. But I wasn't going nowhere.
Or you just saying it without saying
I mean, it's every year you understand what Miami does.
Yeah.
And that's the game that they're playing. And I almost welcome it as an Ohio State fan because it means the program, it means the players in the program are desired by everybody. And I'm also sure Jeremiah saw not only what Ohio State has, what he's seen from Ohio State from a year-to-year standpoint relative to Miami, but also what JSN did last week.
Yes.
I'm like, that is something that you put on every graphic if you're Ohio State.
Oh, they will.
Especially after that game.
Yeah.
I love it, especially after.
Yeah, he's in a position where he can see the big picture because he's being richly compensated as well. But this goes back a little bit to the conversation we were having on the Devin Royal decision to leave the basketball program. You can't pay everybody. You can't. And so in order to keep the guys who have proven it on the field, there has to be casualties. I mean, hell, half of the depth in the receiver room is now at Notre Dame. Because you can't possibly compensate everybody. You just can't. So that's the job. And then you have to decide, these are the decisions that are being made. You think about the two guys who went to Notre Dame. Is the money better spent? You know who they are. They've been on campus. Is the money better spent going to them or Chris Henry Jr.? Because those are, and I'm not saying that you could have one or the other, but you can't have all three. That much, I think, is abundantly clear. You weren't going to be able to have all three. And you weren't going to be able to have Brandon Inniss in addition to it and everybody else. So it's like you have this bucket. How are we going to allocate the bucket? That's why what Pantoni's doing, what their entire front office is doing, is truly NFL roster building. That's what they're doing. That's probably why Ryan keeps gravitating to former NFL head coaches as coordinators, because they're very familiar with that world. And you have to assign a value to a position group, to what's most important on your thing. And what's most important for this team is that Jeremiah Smith, Julian Sand, Bo Jackson, several of the defensive players, the offensive line, that they were taken care of first. And then you have to make decisions. It's kind of that simple. And you have to do it, unfortunately, every year. It's perpetual. There's no break for it. There are no 2-year contracts. There aren't those type of things. Hell, you saw it with Trinidad Chambliss. Now he's going to get to play.
What a good story.
What a crazy. Oh, he's not. You imagine? Who's the old boy coach at Ole Miss now?
Pete Golding?
Pete Golding. Did he think he was going to win that?
Oh, they picked the right judge, and they were able to delay their final hearings delayed through the regular season. So the regular upcoming college football season.
It takes a long time.
So you've played the game pretty masterfully.
Nate Oates is angry somewhere right now.
Yes, he is. Yeah,
Nate Oates is like the cat, and he just lost too many lives with that. Because how many ineligible guys are you going to try to go through before eventually they just stop you? Because Nate was just running through ineligibility as fast as I've ever seen a head coach. So he's got a no. I mean, it was like the Holloway stuff on Friday. We're like, oh, he's allowed to travel out of state. Now, why would they do that? Now, fortunately, Michigan beat them, which I never thought I would say.
He was lamenting the Bediaco thing.
Oh, yeah, if they'd had some size, they'd have been.
If they had some size, we would have, if we could have got a better ruling, we might be able to hang with Michigan. It's like, good grief.
Just recruit some, man, out of high school, or use the portal. Don't get the guy from the G League, you goofball.
Yeah. So that, this is kind of the spot that you're in the sport. Want to know where Chris Henry is? Here's Jeremiah Smith on his freshman
Chris, I thought I'd never meet somebody that's more quiet than me. Chris is quiet. He's so laid back, so chill. Got that Cali vibe in him. But Chris is another one. Just came in, kept his head down, just working.
And this is a new thing for Jeremiah. Right now, he's leader in the room. I mean, Brandon's still there. He's a captain. But Jeremiah's part of that. He reflected on now being the old guy, one of the old guys in the room.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how time flies. I'm going into my junior year now. I remember I was just a little freshman out here running around, making plays. But now, like you said, I'm the oldest guy in the room. So, I got to continue to come in each and every day and continue to Ohio State standard as a receiver. And the guys before us, they did it every day here. So I got to continue to do it as well.
He's the model of what Ryan is going to try to recruit. And you say, well, no kidding, Bo. He's the most talented high school football player to ever come out of South Florida. Okay, fine. But not only did they identify his skill, They understood that he was someone who would buy into all that they're selling. So you feel no issue at all compensating him richly because you're getting it on the field and you're getting complete buy-in for him off the field.
I don't know why, but when I heard that this morning, it really hit me.
Yeah.
Like, he's a junior already. It seemed like Ryan's knees buckled at signing day just yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it goes quick. And, a big reason, he talked about the legacy and all of that. Brian Hartline was a big part of that. Cortez Henkin is now your wide receiver coach at Ohio State, as Brian Hartline's down at South Florida, running his program down there. Here is new wide receiver coach Cortez Henkin on Jeremiah Smith and what makes him different.
Well, I mean, I've been around guys who work at a high level who are extremely competitive. What makes him different, he's probably the most physically blessed guy that I've coached. To have his length and size, I mean, he's almost 230 pounds. One day I was doing a drill with him and just kind of bumped into him. He damn near ran me over, man. When you got a guy that's just a physical freak, and he's just skilled.
Hankton obviously has big shoes to fill as well. Brian Hartline did about as good as you can as a position coach during his time here, from a recruiting, from a development. All you got to do is look at the league. It's all there. Here's Hankton on filling those shoes.
First and foremost, I love winning and I love being the best. And so as a competitor, that's not going to change. And so when you walk into a place where the culture is already set, it becomes easy. Because when you're coaching young men who embrace being coached, embrace doing the hard things every single day, there's always going to be opportunity for growth and development.
What was kind of the big takeaway, and we'll get to Austin in a couple minutes, just last week with the practices and the availabilities? What are some of the things that jumped out in my in my absence?
There was so much from last week. The Tavian St. Clair will be great. Once you got one more season, you'll need to appreciate with Julian and with Jeremiah. And I think this year is going to be a real challenge for Arthur Smith to get Tavian proper reps, because I think that's going to be really important. And I think Tavian's next up for this, and it'll be awesome to have, kind of another quarterback that's developed through the program that you'll get to appreciate. It feels like we're going in that direction. But also the running back, the idea that Bo Jackson and Isaiah West are out for spring is given great opportunity, and Legend Bay is going to be a lot of fun in year one.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that stuck out the most to me was Garrett Stover was named an Iron Buckeye, and he looks like a monster.
Yeah, he does.
But Stover being an Iron Buckeye,
he transformed
that feels right.
His body, and there were spots up for grabs in that linebacker room. They brought guys in, the Christian Alliegros, to compete, but Riley Pettijohn's not there this spring. So there's a chance to jump up there and force your way into a rotation, kind of like Peyton Pierce does. And it seems like Garrett Stover's ready to do that.
So Threes is talking, I think, Thursday.
Yep.
Threes in the room is going to talk Thursday. So that'll be something certainly there to look forward to. I did text a NFL buddy and said, Pro Day was last week. I missed it, but I was curious, like, how'd 10 look? And the only word I got back was, I got one word. What do you think it is?
Smooth.
Great.
Elite.
It's funny because a lot of these NFL talent evaluators are starting to learn like what we kind of know.
Yeah.
Because again, when you're in the NFL bubble for a season, you're not really watching too much college tape. But once you start to break out of that and you come to Columbus and just see how easy it looks for him to play quarterback.
Yeah. Elite. Austin Ward, always elite. He joins in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a warehouse operations manager.
Where are the forklifts?
Sold them. Too expensive. We're using scooters now.
So you expect us to move a 2-ton pallet on a scooter?
Just lean into it. Put your back into it, people.
This is a job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine.
Ask your app store about EasyCater or start an order at easycater.com.
Spring cleaning isn't just for your house, it's for your life. If your job is getting old, it's time to clear the clutter and spring into IT. Go to My Computer Career.
My Computer Career helped me get the skills and certifications I needed to start a new life as an IT professional in months, not years.
Earn the certifications the top employers are looking for right now. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation to see if it's time to spring into IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
You got this. Breathe. Breathe. You got this. You got this.
In the moments that truly matter, what do? Rise to the occasion. Ohio Health. It's time.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
He knows everything about the Buckeyes. He's been offered tens of dollars by a certain team to spill his secrets. He's told that certain team to go to hell.
Damn you all to hell!
He's Austin Ward.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery Co. Kids eat half off every Monday. Find a location and menu at highbankco.com. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank Distillery.
And he joins on the Brian Heating Cooling System fan guest hotline. Hey, buddy, I just had put, here in the last 15 minutes, I put some, I'm not suggesting that you're following every second, everything I'm doing on social, but I put out some pictures of some of the stuff that I saw at Florida State. I was blown away. Honestly, the most impressive facility stuff I've seen, college or pro. Like better than Dallas Cowboys, Minnesota Vikings, better than all of it. I'd never seen anything like it. A massive, massive gamble for them. And you say to yourself, well, if you build it, they will come. If you build it, they will spend. It's all part of that found money thing. Where does that land with you in terms of if you're Ross Bjork and you're trying to find a way to modernize all the things out there while also fielding a top 4 football program and everything else, where does all of this kind of land at a place like Ohio State?
I think Florida State probably wishes that it had reallocated some of those resources elsewhere to the program, if I'm being honest. And I think that that's one of the adjustments that Ross Bjork and Ohio State have made. It's been on the table, and Bo, you know this as well as I do, for several years that they've been raising the money to upgrade the Woody. In fact, I mean, right now they're redoing some of the fields. There's a new video board that they're putting in there. Now that pales in comparison to some of the palaces that have been built overall, but I say that the philosophy has shifted a little bit. You know, when you have pros, and I know that sometimes they'll put out those surveys like, oh, who's got the best NFL facilities, or why does Cincinnati refuse to build an indoor? Pros often do a lot of their work elsewhere or on their own, and they care more about the level of coaching, the level of nutrition, the food, all those other things that go with it, and also now being paid to be comfortable when they leave the facility rather than being in it all the time. And that's different for college football now than it was 5 years ago, definitely 10 years ago when Clemson was putting in putt-putt courses and big slides in the facility to make that all very cool. Ohio State's done some of that, but, the next phase for them is continuing to operate with an expanded coaching staff and surrounding the players with high-level resources rather than just the most modern facility possible. And so, it hasn't quite connected for Florida State, obviously. Maybe it will in the long run. But I think Ohio State's priority has shifted a little bit. And for as much as we might say that the Woody has fallen behind some of its peers, it hasn't fallen that far behind, and it is still productive enough for Ohio State to get the job done.
Yeah, and it goes to, I just had made this point. Don Staley had these comments over the weekend. So many of these kids, we can talk about brotherhood and all of that stuff, but so many of these kids, but what's the number? Yeah. And that's just kind of where it is now. So you have to find, when you're putting all of these pieces together to make this puzzle, you have to make sure you don't have to necessarily beat the highest bidder, but you have to be as competitive as you can be with it. And so that takes money, and that's all coming from the same pot, whether you're building facilities, improving facilities, or paying players.
Yeah, and I would say, too, that because you and I both hear this a lot, Bo, that the Woody is outdated. It could be hurting them in recruiting. I honestly don't believe that is the case.
No.
Because of what I mentioned with everything else, but also anecdotally, in there all last week working out as part of his rehab, and he could do that anywhere. Cade Stover was in there. Paris Johnson was in the facility on Saturday. Jalen Holmes came back to Columbus to do his rehab, and he could do that anywhere. Now he's 7-8 years into the NFL. These guys know that you have. So I mentioned just the training table and the actual weight room and all that stuff, but also the medical staff is amongst the best, and Ohio State's poured money into that. So you've got the former players who know what it's like at the NFL level, could go to Arizona or Florida or Dallas or wherever they wanted to go to complete their rehab and recovery and training. A lot of those Buckeyes are now continuing to come back and do that here. So, that's just a small sample size, but a lot of them are still giving that the stamp of approval even after they leave.
You and I have not talked since Pro Day. I assume you were there.
Yeah, I was, yeah.
How'd 10 look?
Yeah, pretty good. It was an interesting Pro Day in a lot of respects. Really entertaining, Bo. I mean, he didn't have to do a ton. I remember, C.J. Stroud's bonus Pro Day the year before, and everyone was just raving, and he went through every single drill possible. Ohio State balanced some of that out by having Tavian St. Clair throw to C.J. Donaldson with the running back drills, throw to the defensive backs, and also took some of the throws off of Julian Saint's shoulders. I was told, and I didn't count them myself, that Julian was scheduled to throw 46 times on Wednesday. Ryan Day said afterwards with his own assessment, which was far more meaningful than mine, that every throw was on the money. Not every throw was caught, but it was where he was supposed to put it. I can't figure out. On some days, I feel like he has put on 5 to 10 pounds of muscle, and then the pads come off, and I'm like, well, maybe he hasn't. And it's been, just an interesting, I think, spring with Julian Saint, and because we overanalyze everything he does, and that includes just a bonus appearance on a pro day. But the thing that we'll all be talking about probably going into Ryan Day's next press conference tomorrow was Jeremiah Smith on Saturday saying, I was frustrated with practice. Julian and I weren't connecting because that is, the pads were coming on, the intensity was ramping up, and it's like, all right, well, what exactly did you mean by that? It's not so that anyone can point fingers at one or the other, but that's everything about Julian is going to be picked apart when you are a Heisman Trophy finalist, when you are coming back for year 2. What does the next stage in the development look like when the way that the season ended didn't go the way Ohio State wanted against Indiana and Miami, that we've made that point over and over and over. So certainly we're going to pick that apart, but I have noticed for sure an improved sort of command that extended to Pro Day. Like, teammates are looking to him. He's using his voice more. That's arguably more important than anything else physically, because we already know what he can do throwing the football, and few players are going to do it any better than him.
Yeah, I asked because I had mentioned this in the previous segment. I texted an NFL buddy who was at Pro Day, and I said, how'd he look? And he just sent back one word, elite. And I think sometimes we're all guilty of this, like in fans too. We almost want beyond perfection from the quarterback position at Ohio State. And I think sometimes and I think sometimes to a detriment of the players and just the overall experience of being a fan and rooting for guys. Like, in his first year as a starter, he was a Heisman finalist. Like, he wildly exceeded any expectation that anyone should have had, any normal expectation than they should have had. And then when all of a sudden somebody whose job it is to select NFL players or be part of the process of select NFL players, when he gets his eyes on him in person, he just writes elite. It's like, he is.
And I think we're guilty of that, not just at quarterback. I mean, mostly at quarterback. But and I know that you and I have had a lot of Mondays where we're viewing, I think back to a couple of years ago, and it's like, well, what does this performance mean for 2 months from now? What does this mean against Michigan? What does this mean in the playoff? And we sometimes, because we're looking forward, we do take for granted what is already at a high level. And that's not to suggest that Julian Saint is not trying to get better, that Jeremiah doesn't have things that he wants to get better, because he was very critical of himself on Saturday. almost to the point that I'm like, do you remember that you're Jeremiah Smith? Like being frustrated with a practice or, dealing with double coverage that he wants to still make every play. And he was talking about how Ohio State didn't have enough juice with yards after catch. And like, that's some of our cues also, which is a strange catch-22, is that we cover at Ohio State the most elite of the elite, and they hold themselves to the highest standard. And so it almost gives us a green light to say, you know what, they should be doing more. Why can't they do more? Let's do more. They want to do more. And that's what makes them great. But sometimes I think for myself, we take a little bit of that for granted, which is, we'd like to see Julian make 5 or 6 more plays per game when they matter most against playoff teams. But if we're just going to ignore completing 72% of his passes and doing what he did in year 1 as a starter, like that's also misplaced attention. But I think if he does the same thing from right now until the end of August, like he did a year ago, we're going to be looking at something truly special because he's already shown what he can do. The growth that he showed from the day before the spring game to the start against Texas was like light years improvement. And if he does that again, and it looks like he's taking that work very seriously right now, we're going to have something that's truly unique in Ohio State football. Now he's got to do that work, but you can see all the potential there.
Yeah, it's all there. Good stuff as always, buddy. Look forward to that conversation, the questions for Ryan tomorrow. We'll carry that live right here on The Fan. Talk soon, pal. Thanks.
All right, see you, Bob.
There he goes, Austin Ward, the beat with Austin and Berm and Let It Go on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We'll do a little thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction or your money back. File in the Credit Karma app.
Common Man here for Jermaine. Everybody's talking about affordability when buying a car these days, but the truth is, GoJermaine.com has a great selection of affordable inventory. Maybe that tax return's going to hit your mailbox pretty soon. Well, go see my friends because they have 300 new cars under 30 grand, over 300 used cars under 20 grand, and it's only at GoJermaine.com. And along with their $1,000 price promise, no one's going to sell you a car for less. Get started at GoJermaine.com.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. Green & Sons has all the Kubotas you need to tackle your land and come out a winner. They have zero-turn skid steers, tractors from 18 to 171 horsepower, and also utility vehicles. My favorite is my RTV Sidekick. The best thing about Green & Sons is they've been family-owned and operated since 1970, and you will love dealing with the Green family and their winning team. Do what I did and check out Green & Sons located in Mount Sterling and Marysville or online at greenandsons.com for all your Kubota needs.
Oh, did you get us switched over to shelter insurance?
Actually, I found a deal online.
You did? Does your deal come with award-winning customer service?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Does the deal include a local agent?
Doesn't actually say.
Can we create a customized plan that fits our needs? Let's just call the local shelter agent.
For insurance that fits just right, find a shelter agent near you. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
The Reds are on the radio.
And he caught it! No way! What a grab! Noelvi Marte!
Ellie De La Cruz is on his horse, and they're waving him to the house.
Suarez swings. He drives this. It is gone! Eugenio Suarez puts the Reds on top.
The quest for October baseball is underway. Hear all the action all season long on your home of the Reds.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Spring weather is unpredictable. You never know which way you'll be adjusting your thermostat unless you have the right windows. With Window Nation, you can count on your home being comfortable regardless of the weather. Their windows are customizable and energy efficient. Expert installations take just one day, and Window Nation products are backed by a lifetime warranty. There's no better time to upgrade with Window Nation. In March, the more you buy, the more you could save, up to 50% off all window styles and 0% interest for 60 months. Visit windownation.com for your free consultation today.
Columbus has a new football team, the Aviators. UFL football lands April 3rd. Be there for our home opener at historic Crew Stadium. Don't miss it. Get your tickets now at UFLaviators.com. That's UFLaviators.com. United, we fly.
Get Eco.
When your drain is clogged, our
Our drain team will clear it for just $93. If we can't clear it, it's free. And we guarantee it will stay clear for at least a year, or we'll clear it again for free.
Get Eco.
ECO. Go to geteco.com.
All your favorite fan shows are on YouTube, along with those fake YouTube ads like Chew This Gum and It Grows New Teeth. Experience the splendor of Bo sitting in his closet, Timmy Hall's gouty gold chains, and Matty Ice wearing a coat in 90-degree weather. It's all there. Head to YouTube and subscribe today.
Austin Ward here, fired up for warm weather, golf season, longer days, more time outside. Ride the momentum and finally drop the weight you keep saying you will. With Awaken 180, it's fast, easy, and we're all proof that it works. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
March Madness is here again, and so is a Great Clips $12.99 haircut coupon. From dominating the bracket pool to demolishing game day snacks, Great Clips gets that March is every fan's favorite month. And with a $12.99 haircut coupon, your hair can be as ready for the action as you are. Grab a $12.99 haircut coupon now at greatclips.com/March Madness. Great Clips, official hair salon of March Madness. Valid only at participating U.S. salons. Terms apply. March Madness is a trademark of the National Collegiate Athletic Association.
The new Omaha Steak Store is now open at 1033 Polaris Parkway at Polaris Commons. Stop in today and save 50% store-wide on legendary steaks, burgers, and more. Plus, get doorbuster deals starting at just $19.99. Discover the Omaha Steaks difference today at the new store at Polaris Commons in Columbus.
The Fan Poll is sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub, home of award-winning pizza and 32-ounce Yingling drafts for only $4. Bo could quit today and become the school drop-off line coordinator. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
61 degrees today at drop-off. We're still dropping little Timmy and Susie off at the front door as soon as the waivers go by. There's your update. Time for Thing or Not a Thing. Hit it, boys.
Thing or Not a Thing.
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
All right, so we had talked last week about Hubert Davis being fired from North Carolina. And upon his dismissal, the odds for the next head coach at UNC. Billy Donovan was the favorite last week. He remains the favorite today, the head coach currently of the Chicago Bulls in the NBA. But about 7th or 8th in terms of the betting favorite, depending on which sports book you use or the guy in the alleyway, Arizona's Tommy Lloyd had slightly less odds. And he was asked about it before their Elite Eight game, and he didn't say no. Well, Tommy Lloyd's got the Arizona Wildcats in the Final Four for the first time since 2001. And after their win in the Elite Eight on Saturday, he was asked again about the opening in Chapel Hill.
I love those guys. And they've given me a better life because they helped build this program to what it is now. And the legacy is so strong. And those guys have been so cool and so welcoming to me. You know, the sun may be shining on, you know, this team and me coaching it right now. But when it's shining on you, you got to fight like hell to protect it and build it. And so that's what I feel like my number one responsibility is to fight to protect the program and fight to build it for those who came before me and for those that are going to follow after me. Because you know what? Arizona's going to have another good coach after me. I promise you. I mean, the place is special.
Thing or not a thing?
It feels like a thing. That feels like a thing. I think you could have just said, "Look, I'm not going anywhere." Like Arizona's special. Why would I ever leave Arizona? I think that's probably what you do. He comes across as an incredibly likable guy, and it seemed to my read of that, not knowing him, not knowing the circumstances at Arizona, but just knowing that Arizona, it's not on the level of Carolina, but it's obviously in that next rung in terms of elite basketball program. What you can do there. My read on that would be that he wasn't trying to put himself in a bad spot if he takes the Carolina job or if he goes to the NBA or whatever.
I feel like in this situation, less is more. Mm-hmm. And when we had JP in last week and we first talked about this, he said this is the one situation he feels it's okay to lie and say, no, I'm not going anywhere. This is my team. This is where I'm staying. And then you're right. You're going to tick off a fan base if you do that and then you leave. I don't think you'll be Will Wade, but still. I don't think you need to talk that much. Just need to say, look, I understand the question. We've got a team here right now that is doing something that hasn't been done here since 2001. We're going to go try to win a national championship. Now is not the, that's gonna raise more questions, just like we're talking now. But I think I would just say, I understand the question, but this isn't the time.
I think that's what he did. He just elaborated. I think what you're saying is kind of what he did. But if you keep getting peppered with it, which is what's happening to him, he keeps getting hit over the head with it. And do you guys remember when Roy Williams left Kansas? He turned down Carolina once. After Dean Smith retired, he turned down it once, and Bill Guthridge became the coach at North Carolina, did it for a couple of years. And then the second time, he had to take it, and he was asked by Tracy Wolfson after Kansas lost in the national championship game to Syracuse. He was asked about the Carolina job, and he said, and you never hear Roy cuss, but I want to say he said something to the effect of, I don't give a gosh darn or damn about North Carolina. And then a week later, he was the head coach at North Carolina because you couldn't turn down home twice. And there's just no easy way to do this unless you put a moratorium on when these things can take place. We see this in football, too. That's how Lane Kiffin was in the impossible spot he was in.
And you mentioned that Roy Williams example.
Yeah.
Two things can be true, right?
Yeah.
In that moment, he didn't give a darn.
No.
About North Carolina. But it was also probably a dream job and somewhere he always wanted to go back to.
Sure. Yeah.
Speaking ahead of NFL owners' meetings in Phoenix this week, Browns general manager Andrew Berry says the modified language in Myles Garrett's contract is unrelated to a possible trade. Quote, if we wanted to trade Myles, we wouldn't have needed to make a contract adjustment. So it doesn't have anything to do with that, end quote. He adds, Myles Garrett's a Brown. He's one of the faces of our organization. I think we've been very clear, both past and present, in terms of our feelings. I understand the questions. I'll be honest, I don't really want to waste a ton more breath on that topic, end quote. Thing or not a thing?
You just take him at his word. At that point. One thing that they're able to do because of the way that ownership group operates is if there is a way to put them in a better cap position, they will do so time and time again. They will pay out big bonuses. They will restructure contracts that will cost them cash flow immediately in an effort to make sure that they're in a good space to continually improve the team. So my hunch is that's what was done here with Myles. I haven't been around it for a week while this was all going on, so don't have a total sense of it, but my gut would tell me that I would take Andrew Berry at his face value here.
I do not think this is a thing unless some team comes offering 2 first-round picks. Then maybe it's a thing. Flexibility thing.
Everybody's got a price.
Yeah.
Ted DiBiase. Everybody does.
Bo, you had alluded to these quotes earlier in the show, but ahead of their Elite Eight matchup with TCU tonight in Sacramento, Don Staley told reporters conversations surrounding recruitment, especially with players in the portal, have become all about the financial aspect. Quote, how much is it going to cost us? That's the conversation. You got to lead with that because you don't really want to waste your time. You're either going to have enough to pay players or you don't and you move on. She adds, quote, I won't say I lead with the question, but I get to it fairly quickly. After the pleasantries are done, you have to get to the question so you're not wasting your time and spinning your wheels on someone you can't afford, end quote. Thing or not a thing?
It's as transparent an answer as you're going to get on what college athletics is at the moment. And this is happening at the very top of the women's game at South Carolina. It's happening in the sports that you wouldn't think it's happening in. The non-revenue sports are having to deal with this. What can you compensate me? And it's not the fault of the kid or the parents of the kid that are asking it. It's a fault of the system that they've allowed to get to this point without any guardrails or anything. And so this is what it is. And I don't blame them. It's just like we were having the Devin Royal conversation earlier. I don't blame Ohio State for saying we cannot afford to pay you what we're paying you while also paying X, Y, and Z and bringing in these players. For us, you're not worth that. And I can't also blame Devin Royal for saying, I need this, and other places are willing to pay it, and I'm willing to go there to do it. I think it's a no-fault situation, truly.
It's a thing, and I hate that it's a thing. And maybe I don't hate it as much as in the Devin Royal situation, but I hate it that this is what it is with high school recruits, guys who haven't come in and done a darn thing yet. And there are very few Jeremiah Smiths in the world where it's a 100%, and I don't even know if any of it's 100%, but a sure thing, can't miss, home run, this is going to work. I hate that that's the way it is with these high school kids who haven't proven a darn at this level.
Yeah, I do too, but it's going to happen in high school sports too. Already is. Some of that NIL stuff is already creeping into that, so that's kind of the next spot of it. And, you brought up Will Wade and that circumstance. Like, that's got to be the most hated athletic department in the country.
The triumvirate of awful coaches or hateable coaches,
but
villainous coaches.
What other three coaches would you want to cover at a school?
Pure joy.
Mulkey, Wade, and Kiffin, let's go.
Oh, pure joy, but God hateable. So punchable. Not Kim, of course, but the other two. We'll blitz the weekend coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Matty Ice is currently bathing himself in creamy jalapeno dip. And I've officially run out of ways to tease this show. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
When you are a member of Tel-Ohio, your money works harder for you. Lock in 4% APY on a 24-month CD and watch your savings grow with a credit union built for its members. Visit telohio.org to learn more.
Federally insured by NCUA. Membership open to anyone in Ohio. Restrictions apply.
When you see a Gravely mowing the grass, you're looking at over 100 years of ingenuity in action. You're seeing a rugged, durable machine professional lawn service companies have relied on for generations. Or maybe you see a homeowner who demands the best, cutting their own lawn like the pros, whether mowing or on a trailer between jobs. When you see a Gravely, you're seeing greatness at work. Take your lawn mowing up a notch with a Gravely. See the full line at your local dealer.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a warehouse operations manager.
Where are the forklifts?
Sold them. Too expensive. We're using scooters now.
So you expect us to move a 2-ton pallet on a scooter?
Just lean into it. Put your back into it, people.
This is a job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
Newman Roofing, as part of their 2026 Commitment to Community initiative, is proud to partner with 10TV and The Fan to relaunch Raise the Roof, honoring local heroes going above and beyond. We are calling on you to help us recognize the volunteers, educators, first responders, and everyday difference makers who are making a meaningful impact in your community to be recognized on 10TV and The Fan. Send in your nominations and stories to 10tv.com/raisetheroof. 10tv.com/raisetheroof. Nominate a local hero today and help us raise the roof for those who make a difference.
Take your shot to save at Great Lakes Hyundai in Columbus or Dublin. Make a basket for extra savings on top of big shot deals on every model from Elantra to Palisade. Go now, Dublin or Columbus or glakeshyundai.com. See dealer for details. Ends 3/31.
Spring is hatching at the Columbus Zoo. Join us April 3rd and 4th for Eggs, Paws, and Claws. Snap a pic with the Easter Bunny, meet Egbert, roll into Shelley's Celebration, and crack the clues in the Eggsplore and Find. It's 2 extra fun days you won't want to miss. Get your discounted tickets at Kroger.
We can come the day you call us.
We're 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
Brian, I've been meaning to ask you something.
Okay, ask away.
Sometimes when we're talking, I hear a little sparkling sound.
Is it when one of us says, all you have to do is point?
There it is. Did you hear that?
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic? Like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Hey there, guys. Bo Bishop here. When it comes to making a big decision like the ring, you don't wing it. That's why I trust my friends at Diamond Cellar. For nearly 80 years, their family has helped generations of couples celebrate life's biggest moments with exceptional quality, larger diamonds, and better value. And guys, here's the best part. They walk you through it step by step so you know you're getting it right. Whether you're ready to propose or ready to upgrade, visit Diamond Cellar, Sawmill Road, Easton Town Center, or learn more at diamondseller.com. diamondseller.com.
Hey, it's Anthony. By now you know my good feet story, but the point I try to get across is that it's an ongoing one for me. For as long as I can remember, it's always been about my lower back. But when I got fitted for my personal arch supports, it's been an absolute game changer. I feel better, They take all the stress off my back. I feel supported and aligned, and you don't hear me complain about it the way I used to. I could feel the difference instantly, and I didn't have to wait to feel that difference. Once I got fitted, popped them in my shoes, took the test walk around the store, and now on a daily basis, everything feels better. And that's what I mean about an ongoing story. This journey to feeling my pain disappear makes everything better. You can make an appointment online or just stop into the Good Feet store in Grove City or the one on Polaris Parkway in Westerville, and their experts will personally fit you. Then do what I did. Take a test walk around, and you will feel the difference. Do your feet a favor. Get started at goodfeet.com.
What would it take for my child to only miss half a day of school for treatment?
What would it take to fund a cure for childhood cancer?
It would take all of us to come together to support the research. Join us. Go to childrenscancer.org today.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios, driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Ohio State football resumes spring practice Tuesday. Buckeyes will hold 7 more of them before the spring game on April 18th. Ohio State's Ryan Day will speak with the media after practice tomorrow around 11 o'clock. We'll carry those comments live on the Fan when he takes the podium. Over the weekend, transfer safety Earl Little Jr. and transfer wideout Kyle Parker had their black stripes removed. In college basketball, the transfer portal opens next Tuesday, April 7th. Devin Royal plans to enter after 3 years at Ohio State. The junior forward from Pickerington will have 1 season of eligibility left. Portal opens the day after the national championship. The Final Four is Saturday in Indianapolis. Michigan will play Arizona. Illinois takes on UConn. And in baseball Monday, the 2-1 Cincinnati Reds host the Pirates at 6:40. You can hear that game over on the Fan, too. That's 1460 on the AM dial. This update is sponsored by Eco Plumbers. Get $500 in free plumbing repairs when you buy a new water heater. Visit geteco.com and book today.
They'll offer betting advice, but don't bet on it being good. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a Reaction Monday edition of the program. 1212. Scoonie Penn going to join us in about 29 minutes from now. His thoughts on Devin Royal moving on and the Final Four and the stupefying finish to the Connecticut Duke game as well. Between now and then, though, we blitz the weekend. Hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present a weekend sports blitz.
Sponsored by Metal Supermarkets. Visit metalsupermarkets.com/Columbus for all your metal needs.
I believe I had that. Bake, we'll start with you. What did you have?
I believe I had probably, I don't know, about midway through this basketball season that Arizona and Michigan were the 2 best teams in the country. And I feel like they proved that this weekend. I mean, Arizona, it was a rough first half for them, but they just wore out Purdue in the second half, and Michigan just totally dominated Tennessee. That backcourt of Arizona is so good. Pete is ridiculous, and Michigan is just so long and athletic. I kind of feel like the national championship game is in a national semifinal this weekend.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. It's Michigan-Arizona. I think winner's the national champion. I had it that Michigan has the easiest, right when the brackets came out, I was like, Michigan has the easiest path to the Final Four. Now, I think Arizona's none of them are easy. Michigan's was easiest. Arizona had an easy-ish path. They've just played so well. It's looked easy for them, I think. And yeah, UConn, Illinois, incredible seasons. Congratulations, Fish, for making it thus far. And maybe Illinois can face Michigan in the national championship. But those 2 1 seeds are the 1 seeds for a reason, because they're just head and shoulder. Like, I get UConn or UNC would want Tommy Lloyd and his style of basketball. I get it, and Dusty May as well.
Yeah, I think so. We all kind of went similarly here. Like, these were the 2 teams that to me looked the most complete through much of the season. I had both of these teams in the Final Four. Unfortunately, from the Michigan perspective, it is what it is. We've seen them a lot. Played Ohio State 3 times. We know how dominant they are. They really don't have any weaknesses. Arizona has no weaknesses whatsoever. And I think the other part of that was, like you, Reese, when I saw the bracket, I said, well, just pencil them in. Sharpie them in. Like, their paths were just, in comparison to, like, the Duke path and what they had to get through to get to that point, potentially, to get to a national, you get all the way to the Final Four, or even the Florida one. I mean, those 2 brackets were really navigable for those 2 operations, and they navigated it the way that I think a lot of us thought that they would. I did not have that. What did you not have, Bake?
I didn't have the CBJ. having a rough weekend, and it wasn't just on the ice for them. It was kind of rough around them as teams they were chasing picked up points or continued to win. We haven't seen this yet in the Rick Bowness era. It's all, for the most part, been pretty smooth sailing. It's going to be interesting to see how these guys react to a little bit of adversity here in these final 8 games.
I did not have, and this is, kind of the incredible statement from the weekend, Las Vegas Golden Knights head coach John Tortorella.
With 8 games to go.
They fired Bruce Cassidy over the weekend. Torts is back behind a bench, and it's Vegas.
Yeah, he's, for a previous generation, like Mike Keenan. Like when you need a quick fix and an attention getter, you hire him and away you go. He's been doing that for a while. I did not have this. So we had to scramble for spring break because we had to cancel Hawaii because of the floods, and we ended up on 30A, and so there weren't a whole lot of houses to choose from. We did get a really nice, but it was right on kind of the main, right on 30A is where the house was. And I was noticing that NBC was spending a lot of time on one of the decks. And so my wife and I, one of the nights went out to go get dinner, and as we were bringing it back, it was from a block away, we were bringing it back, I see out of the corner of my eye, and like him and, of course, Bootsy talking to 4 girls. And I say to my wife, well, let's give him his space here. Let's get, I don't want to embarrass him. Like, let's walk around and we'll go in another door and, try to avoid it a little bit. And she's like, well, what is he doing? And I'm like, well, I think he's doing what any red-blooded American male would do in that circumstance. And I think he's talking to, some females. So as I got closer, it occurred to it. I realized very quickly, these were not girls his age. No. They were significantly older. Now,
let's go.
NBC is like 5'11" now. So he can pass for a little older than a 14-year-old. So we get in the house and he comes in and he's just beaming. And of course, Bootsy's right in the thick of it. He's in the middle of it. Beamsy's like in a closet. He has no interest to be in any of it. And so he comes in the house and I said, my wife was like ready to go in on him. And I'm like, I'm not mad. I'm impressed. Like I said, how exactly did you pull this off? And I said, first I said, well, were they older? He goes, yeah, they were 16. They were from Louisiana. And they were 16-year-olds from Louisiana. I said, how'd you pull this off? And he goes, I just told him I was 16, Dad. Okay. Tip of the hat. God bless.
You ate a whole wheel of cheese.
Yeah.
And pooped in the refrigerator.
I was like, not even mad. Kind of impressed. Good job, bud. Player who impressed, Bake.
For me, it was Gary Woodland. What a story this is as he wins in Houston on the PGA Tour this weekend by 5 strokes. His first win since 2019. 2023, had brain surgery. He had a tumor that was pressing on his fear nerves, and it was causing him to have anxiety and panic attacks. And since then, he's been having PTSD with this. Jeez. And he didn't get to play in the Masters last year because he didn't qualify. Now with this win, Woodland can be in the Masters. What a story in a weekend for Gary Woodland.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I guess NBC's the player who impressed.
It's crazy.
The automatic balls and strikes, that is another thing I didn't have, but I was impressed that took over the conversation baseball-wise over a weekend that was wild. Like CB Bucknor have a day where he got twice challenged by that system, and it got him both times. He's a terrible umpire.
Yeah, if we didn't know.
I'm so glad that these are being called out, and it gives fans in attendance the ability to shame these umps in real time, and it's incredible. I love it.
I was listening to Brother Bone and Nephew Ty was talking about that this morning. I missed it all, but I heard him talking about it. I just thought, like, that dude is now going to be broken, and he probably deserves to be. I'm not familiar with him. Maybe he's just terrible of umpire all the time, but he's now broken because he's not going to trust his eyes for anything. So, like, you make the dramatic, like, punch him out, and then it gets overturned. You're not going to have the guts to make a call ever because you're going to be consistently proven wrong.
You know what I hope it does? I hope it gets rid of their dramatic punch him out.
I hope so.
And,
you need to high kick a guy swinging a strike.
He was doing it.
Yeah. You could hear it audibly. So, yeah. Player that impressed. I'm going to go players that impressed. Let's just say after a pretty detailed tour of the Florida State campus, that I almost had 3 boys ready to commit. So very little has changed down there from my time down there.
You going to pass down the Florida State twins?
A lot of talent. Their children could be there now. I don't know. They may be very much in play. Player who disappointed, Bake.
Everybody in the end of the Duke-UConn game minus Braylon Mullins. Braylon Mullins hits that shot, but I don't know what either team was doing. Like, UConn didn't foul. They weren't, like, running hard to foul. And Duke just, like, panics and starts throwing the ball around everywhere. I don't know how Duke gave up that 19-point lead. I know it slowly chipped away, but I couldn't believe what I saw in those last 10 seconds.
Neither could Bill Raftery or Grant Hill, if you've seen that video by now, which I'm sure that you have, yeah.
Or Dan Hurley's mom. I mean, that final sequence has resulted in some of the best reaction videos you're going to get in sport, at least all year. I was disappointed in Guardians left fielder CJ Kafis. Not only can he not track balls in the outfield, which is your job as a left fielder, but his batting average through 3 games, I think, that he's played is the same as Bluto's GPA. It's 0.0.
0.0.
It exists. It's just bad.
So disappointed the Southern folk down on, and that's where most of the folks down there were Southern folks. It must be a prerequisite that if you're going to stay somewhere on 30A for spring break, you have to have a pickup truck that is jacked up with, like, I didn't even know this was still a thing, but they have, like, on 22-inch rims with really thin wheels, and then they jack them up on an angle. So, like, the front is way higher than the back. Yeah, like that. And then you just blast Zach Bryan and that stuff. Like, just do that. And that's just blasted it all out. Like driving with your nose in the air of your pickup truck. It was a scene, man. And everybody had them. They all had these pickup trucks. It's crazy. There's none of that up here. I haven't seen it at all. Bud Kilmer, honorary coach of the week. Who do you got picked?
So I was going to give it to John Tortorella for getting hired for the final 8 games and whatever playoff run they have. He's on the Rick Bonus deal. It's just through the end of the year here. But I'll switch it up, and I'll go to Ohio State baseball coach Justin Hare. Ohio State gets their first Big Ten sweep this past weekend against Minnesota since 2023. I know maybe Minnesota's not the best team in baseball in the Big Ten, but baby steps. You got to start somewhere. Yeah. Congratulations, Coach Hare.
I'm going to give a negative nod to John Shire. So of the reaction videos, there is a camera focused on him. When you've got time like that, you do not want to keep advancing the ball up the court. Just you have your guys hold it. I mean, he's kind of panicked as well during that sequence, and it only trickles out, right? If you're panicked as a coach, he looked panicked. He's got the guys to continue to push the ball up the court. I think it was Bill Raftery after. It's like, hold. You've got time is right now on your side until it wasn't.
I love how Raftery still got, even in all the confusion and even though it was way late, he still got onions in there.
Still got the onions.
And he still got nylon in there. It might have been a minute and a half later, but he got them in.
If you watch the video, he's waiting for Ian Eagle to stop talking so that he can interject. Like he's looking over at Ian so that he can make sense of it.
Did you see Jay Billis's tweet this morning, by the way? He said the look Raftery gets every night when the bar closes.
Right. I've enjoyed that. And then like the Grant Hill, even from Selection Sunday, about the liver and all of that. I mean, I've seen it firsthand. It's a steady diet. It was a steady diet of Johnny Black. I don't know if it still is. Who knows? It's got to be Dan Hurley here. I mean, they're 17-1 since 2023 in the NCAA tournament. They're 17. He's undefeated against the number. I thought I saw as well. I mean, just how he gets teams ready and how he has now just completely cemented what Jim Calhoun built. And Connecticut is the modern blue blood of college basketball, which is a decent segue into what we're going to get into coming up next. What happened to the Blue Bloods? And how do they come back? Will they ever? And is it something that could be a cautionary tale in football as well? We'll get to all of that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
The only workplace in America to participate in the Doorknob Fart Game. And we also play office basketball and sometimes do radio. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Tired of snoring? Dr. Mark Levy can help with a custom mouthpiece that opens your airway and stops the snoring. no mask, no noise. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit sleepbettercolumbus.com today. Stop snoring. Sleep better. Live better.
Common Man here for Jermaine. Everybody's talking about affordability when buying a car these days, but the truth is, GoJermaine.com has a great selection of affordable inventory. Maybe that tax return's going to hit your mailbox pretty soon. Well, go see my friends because they have 300 new cars under 30 grand, over 300 used cars under 20 grand, and it's only at GoJermaine.com. And along with their $1,000 price promise, no one's going to sell you a car for less. Get started at GoJermaine.com.
Mortgage rates have dropped, and the best news is they're expected to go down even more. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. If you've been thinking about buying a new home, now is the time. And with Third Federal's Buy Now, Refi Later program, you don't have to wait for rates to drop again. You get the guaranteed lowest rate now, and if rates drop later, even after you close, you can refinance to a lower rate for free. That's right, for free. And now with Third Federal's early rate lock, you can lock in the guaranteed lowest rate even before you find a house. So you'll always have the best rate. So don't wait. Call Third Federal today and lock in the guaranteed lowest rate.
Right now at Third Federal, lock in 5.99% APR 6.02% on a 30-year fixed rate purchase mortgage and refinance later if rates go down for free. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3RD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for buy now, refi later. Lowest rate guarantee and early rate lock at thirdfederal.com. Equal housing lender.
Looking to launch a career in the skilled trades but don't know where to begin? Part-time service in the Ohio Army National Guard can help. You can kickstart your career by enlisting in one of our many trades-based jobs. Get paid to learn these skills and gain on-the-job training when you report to your unit 1 weekend a month or 2 weeks in the summer. To learn how the Guard can pay for your civilian trade certification, visit nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard in coordination with the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Hey, it's T-Bone again. Listen up. Sleep apnea doesn't have to rule your nights. Dr. Mark Levy's been treating snoring and sleep apnea for over 15 years with proven results. And now he has an office in Marysville. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or go to sleepbettercolumbus.com. Stop snoring, sleep better, live better.
T-Bone and Tybus is sponsored by Capital Ford of Columbus.
Tybus Great Explorers looked at like mountains and were like, look at that mountain. Someone needs to summit it. That's how I look at that box of fries. Someone needs to conquer that, and that someone is me.
Mornings on The Fan.
Springtime is here, and you know what that means. It's time for mulch madness. Did you know that too much mulch is bad for trees and shrubs? 2 inches of mulch is plenty. Any more and you risk causing roots to grow up and around trunks, which increases unhealthy stress, shortens tree life, and even keeps moisture from getting down to tree roots. To find out more about mulch madness or to find a certified arborist near you, visit treesforohio.org. That's trees, the number 4, ohio.org.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Jeff Wensing.
Public education matters, and attendance matters. Students who show up nearly every day to school can learn, grow, and thrive. But if they're not there, they miss important learning opportunities and can easily end up behind. Families must make their children's school attendance a priority, and educators must be strong partners to support that goal.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We'll see mostly cloudy skies here for today with highs into the lower 70s here this afternoon. And then for tomorrow, we'll see more partly cloudy skies, some more sunshine, and even warmer temperatures with highs in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. It will be very windy as winds gust out of the southwest at 40 miles per hour. And that's a look at your 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Aaron White here on 97.1 The Fan.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination. We'll read your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
I'm sure you guys discussed this last week, but I was talking with the boys on Sunday, and I said, they were saying, well, if you were working today, what would you be doing? And I said, well, I tell you what I would be doing on Monday's show. This was a week ago, Monday, the 23rd. I said, what I would be doing is, wow, how did we get to a Sweet 16 that does not include Kentucky, Kansas, North Carolina, or UCLA? How did this happen? How do you get to a point where none of those, and I don't know that UCLA is, to me, UCLA was a blue blood in the 60s and 70s to what UConn now is the blue blood. So I think they just kind of are inverted, like they passed the torch to UConn, and they're both like in that blue blood character. But the other three are. The other three are Ohio State football, Notre Dame football, and Alabama football. That's Kentucky, Kansas, and North Carolina. And what happened to them? And the other one that's in that group is Duke. Duke has been the constant. They've been there. Now, they haven't won it since 2015 was the last time Duke won it. And the treasure trove of talent that's come through that program in the 10 years since is truly staggering that they haven't won a national championship during that time. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, especially when you watch the NBA this year and you see how Con Knuppel and Cooper Flagg are playing, let alone everybody else. But how did this happen? How did we get to a point where these blue bloods are no longer guaranteed to reach Sweet 16s and get to Final Fours? Now, Kansas won a national championship in the last couple of years. It's been all the way back to 2012 for Kentucky. Carolina has won a national championship in the last decade under Roy Williams, but none of them are what they were for the longest time. And I think the simple answer to it is the money has spread out. And it's been spread out to various programs around the country, and there's a lot of it to go around, and you can't stockpile players. If this sounds familiar, it should, because this is the exact same thing that's happened to Alabama football and Georgia football. Is for the longest time, if you recruited at the highest level, you could stockpile it, you could develop it, and they all had different paths for it. Kansas has kind of been on the path that Bill Self has been on for a while now, where he would get one or two star 5 stars, and then they would develop guys underneath it. I actually think their model was the most sustainable. Carolina kind of tried to do a similar path as Kansas, whereas Kentucky under Cal was all one and dones, all freshmen. And now under Mark Pope, it went all portal with very little emphasis on it. So I do think this is a little bit of where we are in the sport now, where the money is so spread out that there are so many teams who can contend, and being a blue blood really doesn't matter. It goes back to the Don Staley conversation. Who's paying me the most? And so it gets spread around.
Yeah, we had the conversation to start last week, lamenting asking if it's truly, it's worthy to lament the death of Cinderella because Texas was the only double-digit seed to make it out of the first weekend of the tournament. And then Rick Pitino had comments on Thursday about how the true blue bloods don't control the sport. But there's that rung that's kind of underneath them that's really made inroads to winning national championships in years that the blue bloods are gone. And I look to this tournament and think in a lot of the blue blood school situations, they've got guys that are just not as situationally aware as some of those other teams that have got, Rick Pitino's got guys that started at Kentucky, I think, and then went to Providence for 2 years.
Yeah,
and then landed
Kansas guy.
So some of these teams have done, Lindenborg is, I think, the greatest example at Michigan. UConn, Dan Hurley's guys at UConn, certainly a lot of those are program persons, but with Kansas, with Duke yesterday, the eldest, or they're both the same age, Boozer, but the bigger Boozer, played great. It was, I think, Caden Boozer who had the turnover at the end of the game, and they're not going to have another chance to right that wrong because they're gone to the NBA. And so I don't necessarily think that blue bloods are no longer dead. I don't know if I completely agree with Pitino's point how blue bloods no longer control the sport, because they do, in some facets, kind of control the flow of athletes and kind of control the flow of where the biggest names go right out of high school. And then I do think the other schools below them have been more advantageous of going to the guys who don't see as much playing time or don't see things going the way they expect it to and be like, well, let's try it over here. So it's a mix of all of that.
It is. It's a lot of factors.
You're never, I think, going to year to year be able to say Cinderella's dead, no more blue bloods, because maybe next year blue bloods dominate the Final Four, or the year after that's a Cinderella. Texas is not Cinderella because they've spent more than $25 million on that roster, but High Point maybe again. I don't know.
I don't think the blue bloods are dead, but I think there's been a transition period here, and we talk about it with Ohio State basketball, Bo. Where the football program's getting all the money. The basketball program has to take the scraps. And I think with the basketball blue bloods, it might be a little hard because football is still the thing that drives revenue. So I think you've seen Kentucky and North Carolina in a middling spot here, where they still want to put money into the basketball program, but we got to throw money at the football program too. So they're trying to decide which way they want to go. Now, UConn and Duke have been consistently good. I don't know with Duke because I think they still try to put a little money into their football, but I think they know we're a basketball school. UConn doesn't really have to worry about that. They have a football program, but I don't think anybody really cares about it.
No, and to your Duke point, like Duke did get Darian Mensah. I mean, they paid a premium for him. Now they lost him to Miami, but they got him from Tulane for football to do that. So, yeah, I don't know if you really can be all of them. I hadn't thought about it in this context until you talked about the Cinderella portion of it, Reese. It's a really good point. I do think it's more likely that Cinderella is gone than it is likely that the Blue Bloods will no longer exist.
I agree with that.
And this tournament showed, and the viewers, I think, will show that it showed on the court the basketball was great, and the viewership, I think, is going to be up this year. It's already been up through the first 2 weekends. You're okay with that.
Yeah. Yes. I've often said, like, you love Cinderella the first weekend, but you want the slipper not to fit by the Sweet 16. You do not want a Final Four that's got, if you're a television executive, if you're in the business of ratings, you don't want a Final Four that includes George Mason or Loyola Chicago.
Even if you're us.
Even us. Yeah. Even if you're us. No, this is an infinitely more talkable Final Four. Infinitely. UConn and Illinois. The other side.
It's better basketball.
Michigan and Arizona. I mean, this is going to be elite basketball on both sides of it. The other thing I'm curious about on all of this is, did we not, in the moment, because of how the league has been for about 20 years, did we not appreciate how good this Big Ten was this year?
No.
I don't think we did. And I wonder if all of the resources of these Big Ten programs in the transfer portal was something that we slept on a little bit. Because you're talking about a regional final of Iowa and Illinois. I mean, Purdue in a regional final? Michigan State dang near? I mean, you got half the Final Four at this point. Like, there is a northern financial might that goes all the way back to that analogy we talked about Shelby Foote 2 years ago with Ohio State football. Like, the North has taken the other arm out from behind its back, and they've hired some incredible like Brad Underwood's an unbelievable coach. That guy at Iowa, incredible. And now you give him, Dusty May, and now you give him resources, and look out.
You should have heard Doug peacocking on Friday. I was
going to say, somewhere Doug Maurice is smiling right now.
I set it up for him that, the success of the Big Ten in the NCAA tournament, the success of the Big Ten in the college football tournament. And boy, he it's meat on a stick.
He was right, but he's also wrong in this sense. You'll never get a complete northern buy-in rooting for the Big Ten in the way that you will in the SEC, and I saw it last week. Because the entire South congregates in the same place all the time, and they all have bragging rights. It would be like if on our summer vacations, the entire Big Ten footprint, or at least this Midwest Big Ten footprint, all went to Mackinac Island. That's what happens in Florida on 30A. Every southern state goes there, and they all bragging rights. All of them. That they're all there.
Well, if you give me some place to watch on the golf, maybe I would be there too.
But see, we don't all go there. We don't have it that way.
Well, maybe we would.
And so, yeah, that's what you need. You need to have, we need to iron out our own spots where we could make those things work.
Should we all go to Put-in Bay, watch together?
No, thanks. I'm good.
Bunch of Minnesota folks coming to Put-in Bay. It's the last thing we need. We'll get Scoonie's take on all of this in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Austin Ward here, fired up for warm weather, golf season, longer days, more time outside. Ride the momentum and finally drop the weight you keep saying you will. With Awaken 180, it's fast, easy, and we're all proof that it works. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey there, friends. It's Bo Bishop here. You know High Bank for their award-winning spirits, but the food deserves just as much love. Enjoy happy hour with friends, brunch with family, and dinner that never misses. Make your reservation today at highbankco.com. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Had a few repairs to your furnace or air conditioner this year and now your system is acting up again? Stop patching problems and start enjoying worry-free comfort with Logan Services. We'll repair your system fast, or if it's time, replace it with a brand new one. And if you've had repair work done in the past year, no matter who did it, we'll pay you back up to $3,000 when you choose replacement. We're making home comfort easy. Logan Services.
For over 78 years, our family's been part of your love stories. At Diamond Seller, we offer bigger diamonds, better prices, and timeless designs for every chapter of your life. From your first yes to your forever I do, trust the jeweler who knows diamonds best. Visit Diamond Seller today.
Take your shot to save at Great Lakes Hyundai in Columbus or Dublin. Make a basket for extra savings on top of big shot deals on every model from Elantra to Palisade. Go now, Dublin or Columbus or glakeshyundai.com. See dealer for details. Ends 3/31.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Why should you hire America's largest injury law firm for your case? There's lots of reasons. Just like there's a reason millions of people called us last year in their time of need. When it comes to fighting for justice and compensation, millions of people across the country trust us to go to battle for them. We became the largest injury law firm in the world for a reason. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com. Injured? Dial pound law.
Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
The Fan Poll is sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub, home of award-winning pizza and 32-ounce Yingling drafts for only $4. Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time out on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Conversation about all things round ball. We head to Florida. Are you on the golf course 1-2-1-2?
I am. Orlando, playing on the Nicholas course right now.
Oh God! And you're letting us bug you. How you playing?
I just tripled 9, but I shot a 40 on the front, so we about to start the back.
My man, you put in some work. I'd love to hear that, man.
Yeah, my handicap down, I think a 5-6, something like that. So I'm working on my game a little bit.
There's nothing you're not good at. That's the rule that I tend to apply to you. Anything you do, you're good at. Hey, man, obviously the Devin Royal news, let's start there. I kind of laid it out this way. Like, there's resources that have to be allocated financially, and then there's minutes that have to be allocated in terms of time on the court. And Amari Bynum, Anthony Thompson are in the mix, and so both felt to me like they got squeezed. And I get it from Devin's perspective, too, in terms of he's got to maximize the money he can make when he can make it. What is kind of your read on that and how that all went down?
No, you said it correctly. You know, obviously, Bynum, the way he's playing, like, I think the writing's on the wall. That young man needs to be on the court and playing big minutes. And then you got a McDonald's All-American coming in that is super talented. So you're right. It's a minutes thing, but also it's a money thing because, you know, you got to pay Bynum more. Thompson's going to require a little bit more. So, listen, I understand. I understand the business. You're right. He has to maximize how much he can make while he can. And, you know, I wish him luck.
Yeah. It's one of those things that in your era, you know, he would have been back and you would have kind of built things around it. But now these are having to be, and all your years in the league, I think, probably help with this. You're basically, if you're Jake Diebler and that staff, you're putting together almost a new team every year has kind of got to be your approach, right?
Yeah, you have to. That's the way to go. It's every year. Everyone's up for audition every season. At the end of the season, they reevaluate how they done, what you have coming in, and where you're going to allocate your funds, and who's going to get what playing time. So it's very different. And for a guy like Devin, who averaged, 13 points a game, really good rebounder, I mean, he'll land on his feet somewhere really good because he is a quality player.
Yeah, he is. And honestly, he needs to play the 3. And so if he's going to play in the league or try to, he's going to have to play the 3 anyway. So that's something he's going to need to do. And those minutes just weren't there. So I think it's kind of an amicable split for everybody. Big picture, and I know you were bullish on Illinois. By the way, folks, if you want to know who's going to make runs in the tournament, just listen when Scoonie's on because he can identify the teams that did. You talked about Baylor years ago. You did it with Houston a couple of years ago. Like, you just like the look and the makeup of some of these teams.
Yeah.
Did we give this Big Ten enough credit for being as good as it was this year with 2 teams in the Final Four?
I don't think we did, but they proved how good they really are. It was just battle tested. I mean, Michigan's really fucking good. Oh, excuse me, my language. Sorry about that. Michigan's really good. Then, Michigan State, what they do. But Illinois, Iowa, Purdue, these teams, think about it all season. They play a style of basketball that fits the NCAA tournament. Guys have size, you have shooting ability, and you have guard play. Those are the things that you need to have a good run, and that's what these teams in the Big Ten have done this tournament.
What did you make of the end of the Duke-UConn game yesterday? I'd never seen anything quite like it.
Unbelievable. I was in a restaurant and I screamed, and everybody just jumped. Just hold the basketball. Like, that's that right there, for me, I call it inexperience, having a young team. That they should have just held the ball, take the foul, and make 2 free throws, 1 free throw, and make it tough on them. Those guys it's gonna haunt them for the rest of their lives, because all they had to do was hold the ball, and I think they had a win in the bag.
It was kind of crazy too, Scoon, because UConn wasn't exactly rushing to foul either, and I thought it was going to get away from them. It felt like it just was pure dumb luck, and then the shot is actually anybody who's played basketball, it's a pretty easy shot. He's running into it. I mean, all the momentum is going to the rim. It's a 30-footer, but like that's a shot he probably makes unguarded, like he was yesterday, 6 or 7 times out of 10.
It's just one of those things. When it left his hands, I'm looking at like, oh, that's good. That's a good shot. There was I'm not saying there's any pressure there, but he hadn't been shooting the ball well. He got a good look at it. I thought the Duke defender just stood there, didn't run at him. He didn't put his arms up. And it was one of those shots that you just mess around and practice at the end of practice. And he switched it, and he's going down in history now, actually going home to play in Indianapolis in the Final Four. What can you say about UConn? It's just a team that continuously battle, and they find themselves in good position.
What does Dan Hurley do different?
I think knowing Dan Hurley, how he is, he's a feisty coach. I think the way he motivates these kids are different. If you watch how they came out in the second half, they didn't play well in the first. They didn't make shots. But the way they turned it up, he just stays on. But I think he also encourages these guys. They play with a certain type of freedom that if I play some defense offensively, I can go ahead and play my game. And that's what he allows. And a lot of coaches don't do that.
This Illinois team, let's do this matchup first. I know you were bullish on him. There's a lot to like about it. I like how Brant Underwood goes about his business as well. What's kind of your early read on UConn, Illinois, and then we'll do the other side?
It's down to shooting. It's going to come down to who shoots the ball best. Illinois, I think, is really good with their guard play. Even their bigs are good. But UConn, I think, can turn it up defensively a little different than most. So for me, as much as I want to see Illinois win, it's going to be tough to knock down UConn because the way they play defense and having such a bad shooting game. I can't see them shooting that bad the next game, so watch out for those guys.
On the other side, I think most people think that feels like the national championship game. They've been the 2 best teams, or one of them probably should have been the 1 overall. Arizona survived a slow start, and then it was just an avalanche against Purdue. And then the Michigan team just put the beat down on Tennessee. What is kind of your read on that one as we're still a few days out?
Arizona has it all. That was my pick from the beginning.
Yeah.
They have it all, guard play, size. They're playing with so much confidence. Michigan on the other side, the one thing I think that hurts me is at the end of the game, who do you put the ball in their hands? Like what guard can really handle it and take over?
Arizona has not a single weakness, Scoon. Nothing.
They don't. Nothing. That's why I chose them to win. I think they have it all.
Yeah, they do. I want to ask you this. First time since 1954, no Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, or UCLA in the Sweet 16. Duke misses the Final Four again. Of the traditional blue bloods, certainly those are them. You could argue UConn is now a blue blood, what they've done over the last 25, 30 years, and I think that would be fair. But you talk about Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Duke, and the first 3, none of them in the Sweet 16. Where have those programs that have traditionally dominated the sport, what has happened to them, and Duke lesser extent because they're the number 1 overall seed, but what do you kind of see with those? Because that's a pretty rarity when you go back to 1954 and a Sweet 16 didn't include one of them.
It's the playing field's a little bit more equal now. Before it was all about those teams, those schools, and everyone wanted to go play for those guys. But now, with the money being spread out, NIL and everything, it's a new day. And you have different coaches now at new places that turn in organizations like UConn, I think, has been obviously the best program in the last 25 years has been UConn. But it's just time. It's like anything else. Sometimes some things shift, but don't count those guys out. Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, Kansas, those teams will be right back in the mix next year.
You played in the Big East when this was all starting with Jim Calhoun. Could you have ever foreseen this?
Yes, because it's a destination. It's a school that, where it's located, nowhere really, but you can get good quality players there. On the East Coast, you get a lot of the East Coast New York guys who are super skilled that will go there and play. And the coaching tree is unbelievable. Obviously, Calhoun, and then he had Kevin Ollie follow him.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have Hurley. They just do a good job with everything. And think about it. In their area, they don't have a lot to compete with. Yeah, BC's up the road, St. John's, but no really big powerhouses are close by.
No, and it's both men and women. It's a stunning thing over the last 25 years with that program. All right, buddy, continue the good play. Put that triple out of your mind, and let's see if we can get this in some low numbers on the back nine.
No doubt. You take care, Bo.
All right, there he goes. 1-2-1-2. The Buckeye Hall of Famer, Scoonie Penn, joining us on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Every year we have him on, he gives us a couple of teams. And he's done it before, and he did it with this Illinois team. Really liked their draw and them being able to get there. The UConn men's and women's basketball dominance over the last 30 years is truly a thing to behold, and something that kind of came out of the clear blue sky for both. And they just have been, what's Gino got, 13? Some crazy amount of national titles since he's been there, and they're going to win it again. And the men's team's got 6 with 3 different coaches. It's just a crazy level of dominance. And it's hiring the right coaches, location, I don't know what you pin it on, but they're there now.
What's in Storrs, Connecticut that attracts basketball players?
I've never been. Hole in the resume. I've been to the state of Connecticut, but I've never been there. I don't know how they pulled it off. Is it the football thing where they don't have to worry about the resources of that, and so they can just go all in for basketball? Or
could be.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, all of the men's titles have been since 99. Is that right?
Yeah.
That was their first?
Calhoun's got... They have 6, right? Calhoun's got 4? Or does he have... Yeah, he's got 4, Ollie's got 1, and Hurley's got 2, right?
Well, that would be 7 then. If Calhoun's got 4...
Or does he just have 3? Jeez. Thrilling radio. Let me do a quick Google search. I want to see how many he's got, if it's 3 or 4. 4? No, 3.
Yep, the men's team has won 6. 99, 04, 11, 14, 23, and 24.
Yeah, and then Gino's got 162 and another one coming. I mean, they're not. Those games aren't even. The women's side, the 1 seed's not even competitive.
I mean, the only hope is UCLA, right?
I guess. I don't know. Does South Carolina have it? They're playing tonight, right? I'm sure they'll win by 60.
Is South Carolina in it?
Oh yeah.
It's. I thought it was Michigan and Texas.
No, I think that don't you have it tonight? So you got
South Carolina and TCU is 9 o'clock tonight. Texas and Michigan's the game before that at 7.
Yeah, here's the South Carolina scores in the NCAA tournament: 101-34, 101-61, 94-68, and then they got TCU tonight. Texas is the 1 seed on the other side. They won 87-45, 100-58, 76-54, and they play Michigan tonight in a 1-2 game. UCLA on the women's side got to the Final Four: 96-43, 87-68, 80-56, 70-58. UConn scores 90-52, 98-45, 63-42, and 70-52. Not a single-digit result in any of them, guys. That gap on the women's side is still massive compared to the men's. Massive. We'll get 3 things on a Monday up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction or your money back. File in the Credit Karma app.
This Ohio State football spring practice report is brought to you locally on The Fan by Roosters and by your Ohio Kubota dealers.
Ohio State football spring practice report.
For the second straight offseason, Ohio State head coach Ryan Day found himself having to put in place a new offensive coordinator in a position you would think would be attractive given all of the weapons that Ohio State has. Arthur Smith is the new man in charge of the offense coming from the NFL, and he talked with the mass media about why Ohio State was a good choice and a good move for him to make.
You know, the respect I have for Coach Day, when he reached out, and we had a good conversation and came down here and spent some time with him and just kind of weighed my options. And I'd had such a good experience with some of the players that have come through here that I've gotten the privilege to coach. So I was intrigued, kind of weighed my options and talked to a lot of people, including Mike Vrabel, who's a great Buckeye, who's a great friend of mine. It just made sense.
This report brought to you by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center and by Weber Grills. This is Paul Keels on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Buckeye fans, game day just got hotter. Whether you're parking the shoe lot or grilling at home, it's not a tailgate without Weber Grills Traveler Grill. Fires fast, folds flat, fits compact, and delivers championship flavor every time. Burgers, brats, steaks, even rival fans agree. Bring the taste of victory wherever you grill. The Weber Traveler Grill. Tailgate tough, Buckeye proud. Weber Grills. Taste the tradition. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like a stylishly affordable Corolla. Now through March 31st, get 4.99 APR financing on a new 26 Corolla, Corolla Hybrid, or Corolla Cross. Excludes GR Corolla. Or lease a new gas-powered Corolla LE for $199 a month for 36 months with $36.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
When you are a member of Tel-Ohio, your money works harder for you. Lock in 4% APY on a 24-month CD and watch your savings grow with a credit union built for its members. Visit telohio.org to learn more.
Federally insured by NCUA. Membership open to anyone in Ohio. Restrictions apply.
Spring is hatching at the Columbus Zoo. Join us April 3rd and 4th for eggs, paws, and claws. Snap a pic with the Easter Bunny, meet Egbert, roll into Shelley's Shellebration, and crack the clues in the Eggsplore and find. It's 2 extra fun days you won't want to miss. Get your discounted tickets at Kroger.
Build your cybersecurity skills and prep for thousands of open positions employers are desperate to fill. Attend classes live online or on campus. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Financial aid is available to those who qualify.
Disasters strike, fires, hurricanes, earthquakes. Direct Relief delivers. No politics, no red tape. Direct Relief is a lifeline to people in crisis. So check them out at directrelief.org. And if you can, donate.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
So much going on. Aviators debuted last night?
Yep, lost to Orlando, I think 23-16. Columbus fumbled the opening kickoff.
Okay. Home Friday?
Yep.
Did you guys, either one of you, take it in?
Yeah, I saw some of it.
You watched a little?
I was watching, and that's going to be probably my first thing. Something about that.
It was yesterday was my birthday, so we went out to dinner and I played golf with the boys in the afternoon, and then so that kind of I had the tournament stuff on, and I had a lot going on, so I kind of forgotten about it. So
I feel like that's a first Friday on a Sunday. A first Friday.
It is, but it's also an odd one because you go to have a nice meal and you have a glass of wine, and I usually don't do that on a Sunday, and all of a sudden it's like, well, let's get the party started. Then all of a sudden you're like, well, hey dummy, it's Sunday, not Saturday. So that doesn't necessarily work. Time for 3 things. Hit it, boys.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
It's possible that in 6 days off, I forgot how to do this. Reese, what's on the poll before we get to 3 things?
So the Daily Fan poll, sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub, asks, how many of the final 4 did you correctly pick? 0 or 1, 2, 3, all 4 your options. 0% picked all 4. 49% say they've got 2 of them. 32% say they've got 0 or 1 of them. 17% got 3 of the 4.
Oh, wow. Probably UConn, I suppose.
Yeah, our nonsense bracket had 1.
Which one?
Arizona.
Yeah.
Who's the national champion for our nonsense bracket, so still alive for that.
The amount of people who said, well, I had Michigan and Arizona, which is what I had, and I know, Bake, it's what you had. Reese, did you have Michigan and Arizona in your real one?
In my real one, I had Michigan and Illinois.
No, in terms of the Final Four. In the Final Four,
You had Arkansas, I believe.
Arkansas is my national champion, yeah.
Okay.
I have them over Duke in the title tilt.
Yeah, the amount of people who said, I've got Arizona, Michigan. I got 2 of them. Yeah, a lot of us do. A lot of people have those 2. All right, number 1 for me. Some things never change when you go to 30A. And one of them is that if you are this while fashion changes for everybody, fashion stands still for Southern folks who go to 30A. For the men, khaki shorts, short on the inseam, polo shirt with your institution of higher learning on the crest. That's the go-to look. There was one thing that I saw that probably even trumped that, and it was the amount of Southern young men who are trying their damnedest to look like Riley Green. The amount of mustaches and high hats walking the beaches, you couldn't, and I get it. He's a smooth operator. I totally get it. I understand it, fellas, but there were dozens of them. It was like a Riley Green impersonator contest, look-alike contest all over the beaches.
Were there a lot of mullets, too?
Not as many mullets. A lot of that kind of just fluff, that they do. My kids are doing it now, too, like the kind of that fluff stuff. A lot of that.
The broccoli on top?
Yeah, just make a mess. Yeah.
First thing out of me, who says the North and the South can't get along? The Big Ten and the SEC have announced a volleyball challenge in the fall. All 34 teams are going to compete. Penn State's going to play Kentucky Sunday, September 6th at Wrigley Field. Women's volleyball at Wrigley Field in September.
Jeez.
Could be for some.
They're trying to find money everywhere, aren't they? Anywhere we can find it.
First thing for me, I was driving home from the Blue Jackets game last night, and when Dylan Tyre in the postgame went off, the national guys came on, and they were talking about the games on Netflix and how don't do the gimmicky stuff on Netflix because people aren't accidentally running into baseball on Netflix. Like, people that are going to baseball on Netflix are looking that out. And then I got home and I put the Aviators on, and while I do like some of the things the UFL does with the transparency and the officiating a little bit, I don't know why when they do the coaching interviews, like when the play is happening or about to happen, it seems gimmicky to me. And it loses me. And maybe that'll get the casual fan that just turns on ESPN and is like, oh, look, this is different. This is new. This is nice. Maybe it could get them in. For me, it turns me off a little bit.
Okay.
And I don't like that because I want to be an Aviators fan. And I want to get into this. Also, the product on the field wasn't great last night, and that doesn't help me get into it.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a run Friday in the home opener, see kind of how the feel of that is, and we'll kind of go from there. Number 2 for me, just thank God I don't have daughters. After just watching, this was our first, as a family, around other spring break situations, whether they were high school kids or college kids. If I had a daughter, I'd love her to death just like I do the boys, but thank God, because I those of you who've got daughters, God bless you. God bless you. What people wear nowadays, it's impossible to wrap your head around. And unless you're like my boys, and then your head's on a swivel like this. That's basically what happened for a week.
On Saturday, a 12-ton shipment of Kit Kat Crunch bars was stolen in what CBS News is calling a chocolatey heist that risks causing a shortage in stores right before Easter. So Kit Kat's owned by Nestle, which is based out of Switzerland. A truck transporting 413,793 units of the new chocolate range had been stolen during transit. Here's what Nestle told a French news service. Quote, we've always encouraged people to have a break with Kit Kat, but it seems thieves have taken the message too literally and made a break with more than 12 tons of our chocolate, end quote. Good job out of Nestle. I can't wait for the movie.
Somebody put this up and I was dying. It reminds me of Paulie Walnuts calling Tone from a payphone. Hey, Tone, you know the thing with the chocolate? It's done. Like it just screams. Some sort of a Sopranos heist.
Like that signal chat.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Incredible.
It's perfect.
Second thing for me, I think I used to like Cooper DeJean. Now I might hate him.
Oh, no.
He just ended his fling with Nikki Bella. It seems like that is no longer. And then this week at the Illinois-Iowa game in the NCAA tournament, he was seen with Dallas Cowboys cheerleader Abby Summers. Cooper DeJean, maybe the new NBC. Has no problem in that department.
Just maybe. I just told him I was 16, Dad. Number 3, I'll keep this one short. Thank you, TSA. Our experiences were great, and I just working for nothing and having to deal with all of this. God bless you.
Second thing, I learned this from the Dispatch, so you're going to learn it today as well. Pawpaw is the official fruit of Ohio. Cardinals, the bird of the Buckeye State. Tomato juice is the official state beverage. 1965 was when it was incorporated. I didn't know that Ohio is one of the nation's top tomato producing states. Now you do as well.
Good to know.
Final thing for me, don't go anywhere. Rothman and Ice are coming up next. They will have former CBJ headman Brad Larson on at 12:30. And then they want to hear from you. The Floor is Yours is back on Mondays at 1 o'clock.
You have that to look forward to, which is nice. We're back tomorrow. Thanks for listening, buddy. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets.